Hey, how you doing? This is SEIJIHITO here to bring you another live stream. It's going to be not all over the place, but it'll make a little bit of sense here and there. I'm going to go through a variety of videos. Um, I originally had a first video to start directly off with, but I wanted to showcase this video here because of how dangerous the situation is, right? So you have this what appears to be, I'm just going to say a melanated woman here, and she decided to take some drugs. And you will see that she is around nothing but people who don't look like her. And during her high, she decided to, run off. And well, let me just play this real quick, right?
Yo, you too high?
I feel like I'm in a
Are you
No. Daddy ain't working.
You feel like you in a movie?
Trying to measure up to the rich kid with their jams for backpacks with their name on it. Tell them even mama bag. They been
Right. Um, Very short clip. But the main thing that I'm trying to bring up here is the fact that this is completely dangerous. This woman is around two males. She decided to take drugs that she don't know what's in those drugs at all, or if she may have a bad or adverse reaction directly to it. And pretty much they're the only ones filming, which means that they will be the only ones to have proof or also be the last ones to actually see her alive. She is not directly in her right mind at all. And this is what it looks like when people have been trained and taught that if you are around other groups of people, that you are, 99.9% safer, if you are around other men, versus if you are around men who look like you, then, more than likely you got a 1% chance of survival. This is what people want to position and prop up and post, directly online. And in a lot of instances and stories that I've covered, women like this inevitably end up being the ones who lose their lives the quickest because of what it is that they've been indoctrinated into, the lies that have been supplied and given directly over to them. And then when these stories come directly up of these women missing, they leave out the details of who these women were specifically around, who they were, what areas, right? Their alignments and their beliefs. So again, if anything happens, and I hope nothing does, right? If anything happens, I hope that those out there will decide to, put her name on a t-shirt, put a hashtag out there, keep her name alive. And I'm talking about specifically the ones who tell women like her to go out there and be amongst other groups of men because they're way more safer. Because I don't see nothing funny about this situation at all of a woman being around two guys and taking drugs. Anything can happen. It's already, hard enough for women as it is going to clubs, and you might be dealing with the bartender and the guy who's observing you working as a tag team to basically, drug said woman. Like I said, try to bring awareness to stuff, try to, give people information, and folks don't want to sit up there and listen, but they want to turn around and, try to say that, black men, they're dangerous. They're going to the femicide rates, the black men, they're killing us all. This is like, we're going into extinction. Right. So, like I said, whose ever daughter this is, you did a stand-up job of training her. You did a stand-up job of not teaching her what it is to be a woman directly out here, and how it is that you should never put yourself in a position where you are the only woman there and also the only melanated woman there. Like I say, you can't tell nobody nothing. But anyways, now we're gonna go to the original first video. And this video here, let me just preface this by saying, I'm shocked, dare I say, shocked and appalled that I don't see a lot of Pan-Africans coming out and speaking on this video that I'm going to show you. This is for all intents and purposes, from what I can assume, right? Is a Black American woman. She stated that she's a United States citizen and that she went over to a African country, and she was, in a sense, I guess you could say, coerced or extorted out of about a good $1,000+ in order to get her children back, and never received her children back. And they are also trying to, I guess, deport her or whatnot or whatever. But I'm going to let you guys listen directly to it, and then we'll speak on it.
My name is Elizabeth McMillan. I'm currently in Lusaka, Zambia with my 3 children. During this time of us being here, I overstayed on my visa. When I went to exit the country, I was not allowed to exit. We were held at the airport and then taken to immigration, where I was fined and asked to pay 24,000 kwacha. I was told multiple prices that I needed to pay. They finally settled on 24,000 after telling me that my children were not minors, that my children should be paid for as well. They finally decided I could pay 24,000 kwacha after telling them, yes, my children are minors by Zambian standards and American standards. There's nowhere where it says that my children's ages do not make them minors. Because of the way that their payment systems are set up here, I had to transfer money into my cell phone and then transfer it to them. They were not able to accept my phone tapping their point of sale here, so I had to send money through the phone and found out that there was only 20,000 that could be sent per day. During the sending of that 20,000, they wanted the entire 24,000. So because I wasn't able to pay that all at once, I was put into detention, spent the night in jail until I could pay the rest, due to the phone system not allowing me to pay everything. Once I paid everything, I was told that my children would be returned to me, since they were taken the day before while I was in detention. I was told that the next day after I got out, I would meet them at the immigration office. They would come, everything would be fine. I would be reunited with my children. That didn't happen. Immigration cleared me. However, I was not allowed to be reunited with my children, though this is what I was told would happen. The next day, there was a holiday, so they said that they would not be able to reunite us then, but they would reunite us on that Friday. All of this started on the 10th of March. So on that Friday, when Friday came, I went to the immigration office expecting to see my children, expecting us to go and prepare to leave the country as requested. However, I was told no, I would not receive my children then either. I've been told multiple things by multiple people as far as what is going on with my children, none of which is adding up. Immigration says one thing, child welfare here in Zambia says another thing, but yet I still have not been told exactly why I cannot be reunited with my children. I've paid all the fines. I've been cleared to stay in the country until a certain date. I've also bought tickets to leave the country, and still my children have not been returned.
So let me just pause it right there because I did want to look up some information and color me surprised when I saw this. So let me put it in front of you. It said yes, historical slavery existed in the region that is now Zambia, particularly within the Lozi Kingdom of Western Zambia, which saw the persistent use of slave labor until its formal abolition by colonial authorities in 1906. Additionally, Zambia was affected by slave raids and trafficking conducted by both Arab and Swahili traders and European interests in the 19th century, with modern slavery continuing to exist. Historical slavery. Slavery was integral to the economic and social structure of certain communities, like the what is that? Borrowed set wait. Borough Seland. I think Borough Seland. If I mispronounced it, my apologies. I'm not African. Lozi, with slavery persisting into the early 20th century. Slave trade. The area was impacted by the broader transatlantic slave trade, which saw millions of people in Africa suffering. Next, they said, according to a 2023 now, mind you, we're in 2026, 2023 Global Slavery Index by Walk Free, an estimated 94,000 people were in modern slavery in Zambia in 2021, representing 5.1 in every 1,000 people, which includes forced labor and forced marriage. So, out of people saying that they do research and that they're educated and knowledgeable, out of all of the places that you could have potentially took yourself as a single woman, presuming, and with your 2 kids, you took them to a place that has a history of slavery and slave trade, and even still persistent within this time frame. And now you can't get your kids back. I will be shocked and surprised if she could ever get her kids back, looking at this information right here. But let's continue.
In this process, I asked the person from child welfare who I had contact with basic questions about my children, which I was told to do by the embassy. I was told to do by immigration. They all told me to stay in contact with her and ask questions through her so that I can find out about how my children are doing and things like that. While doing that, I asked basic questions. Are my children taking medications? Are my children being cared for properly? Are they going to school? What about their schooling? I mean, there's nothing that was asked of me when all of this process started. They don't know about my children's special needs. They don't know about anything pertaining to my children. The only questions I was asked when my children were taken were my age, what I do for income, as well as how much I was paying to live in Zambia, all of which I answered. 41 years old. My children have, done everything that they're supposed to do. They're not criminals here. I've paid all of the fines. Everything has been done. I told them that I was paying $80 per night to stay in Zambia in an Airbnb, which I have receipts for, and I can show those. One person at immigration told me that they felt like I didn't have enough money to sustain my children. And obviously, if I'm paying $80 per night for my children to live, I obviously have the money to sustain my children. Since all of this has happened, the woman that I was speaking with, the only contact that I had through child welfare, has blocked my number. She refuses to talk to me. However, she has gone to the orphanage where my children are being held and asked my children multiple questions that no child should be answering, pertaining to medication, pertaining to mental illnesses, pertaining to everything wrong with my children. She wants to know through them. They're not capable of answering those questions, and they should not have to answer questions for their siblings. When I asked her why my children were being held exactly, she cited a section of their manual which literally says that my children have no need to be there and they should be returned to me. My children have been kept at standards higher than what Zambia even requires for their children. They've been kept at American standards the entire time that they have been here, and it should not be allowed that my children were taken. I was told yesterday that I would be allowed to drop off birthday presents for my twins, and meet somebody here in Lusaka to be able to give them to the person, and they would deliver them to my children. However, there's one person, this same person, through this Department of Child Welfare, who has blocked that as well. She will not allow me to give my children birthday presents, though it was something they were expecting, something that was allowed by the orphanage where my children are. She's not allowing it. So there's literally one person who is holding up this entire process. I'm being told now that my children may not even be returned to me for us to leave the country, which is what was requested of me, and that was all I needed to do. I did everything that they requested. I booked the tickets. The flight is ready. Everything that we need is ready. I have no access to my children or any of our things. My children have everything that belongs to us, so I have not been able to work. I have not been able to make money so that my children have everything that they need, and she knows these things. Right now, I'm asking anybody that can help with getting my children back that you please help, whether that's reaching out to the president here in Zambia, whether that's reaching out to child welfare in Zambia, reaching out to the president in the United States, or anyone in the United States that may be able to help anywhere in the world. I'm asking for help with getting my children back. Today is my twins' birthday. They should be with me. They shouldn't be spending their birthday with strangers, all because of a personal vendetta that one person has against me. The only reason that I've been given that my children were taking is that it's being done in America, so it can be done here as well to me. So since Americans are doing it, it can be done to me because I'm American, is what I was told.
So I'm just gonna, before I even get started, things like this shouldn't happen at all. Regardless of the feelings that people may have, depending on the content or the social point of view that is directly out here with men and women. Things like this should not happen. If somebody wants to travel, they should be able to go to and from, no problem. As long as you follow the rules, the laws, and regulations in those countries, you should pretty much have no problem. And, you should be all good. Now, villain arc. The problem that I have with this is quite a few things. Number one, you have the greatest liars directly out there, who are a lot of these Pan Africans who have been feeding into Black Americans that, oh, we need to all go over to Africa. Africa loves us. They want us back. This is that Africa is our home, and this, that, and the third, and all this other type of stuff. And I'm like, well, if Africa is really home, then why are Black Americans going through this? Right? The greatest thing that people always requote is that Black women are the most um, disrespected. They are not protected, right? And you would think that if a Black woman were to go to Africa, that she would be awesomely protected, that everything would go as planned and, pedestalized, highlighted, safety everywhere. But for all intents and purposes, this American citizen went directly over there, melanated, went directly over there with her two children, obviously single. And she had her kids taken away from her, hasn't been able to see her kids. And I'm trying to figure out, where are all of the Pan Africans at? All of these high social media content creators with hundreds of thousands and millions of viewers, where they speak directly to Black Americans and everybody else, and want to always put out this information. Oh, you guys are African, and da 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 da, and all this other type of stuff, and embrace being African. And where are they at to help this woman out? Because they have more light than I do, right? They got hundreds of thousands, millions of people that basically watch and view their content every single day. Where are they at to specifically speak on this problem and this issue, of which should not have happened at all? Where are they at? Because this is like the umpteenth story that I've seen of a Black woman single going directly over to Africa and something happening. In the other stories that I've witnessed, I've been able to understand that Black women have lost their lives over there in Africa. And I'm like, so why aren't the Pan Africans and everybody else talking about this, right? Because people want to talk about, oh, the femicide rate of Black men in America, they do this, they do that, and da da da, right? So if Black women are losing their lives, Black American women are losing their lives over there in Africa, why isn't anybody talking about it? Why isn't anybody bringing it up? Why isn't it being highlighted? This woman here had both of her kids taken. Zambia has a history of slavery, even still within this time frame, still a history of slavery. And now they got orphanages directly over there, and she can't even simply just deliver gifts to her kids. She can't even speak to them. She can't talk to them. She can't even visibly see them or physically touch them. How do you know that those kids even still exist? How do you know that they're even still within the same country? They could be gone. They 100% could be gone. She might be just working with a wish, with hope, with some type of faith that there are good actors somewhere out there that are keeping her kids, within that area, within that country, and nothing nefarious is happening to them. That's some crazy work. The other thing I want to speak on as well, too, is that I've normally heard of these Black female, traveling agencies, companies, or whatnot, or whatever. And I'm like, so where are the groups of Black women that are normally, in these areas that Black women will go and travel directly to? Where are those women, those Black American women over there in Africa? Where are they at to help this woman here? Where are they at so that she can get in contact with them? Because they've been there longer and maybe understand some stuff, right? Maybe they might know some political officials or whatnot or whatever that can get things expedited. Where are they specifically at? My other question is, where you have a lot of Black women out here that talk about being single and proud of being single and having money and intelligence and college education and being through a variety of places, where are they at also to help out this woman? Where are the African women that are supposed to be allies with Black American women to speak on this issue, to highlight this issue, to get this expedited, to get these things moving? Where are these people at? Because I'm seeing nothing. I see zero, zip, nada. And that's my biggest problem. Because for the longest time, you've had Black men out here try to tell women, it's like, hey, you might not want to, be moving to and from like that, when you got kids. Like if you want to do it yourself, it's still a danger, but you can go out there and take that risk because it's just you taking that risk. But when you are a woman with kids and you decide that you want to move from one country to another, you don't know nothing about that country. You don't even know the language. You probably don't even know the history. You don't even know the current climate politically dealing with the government. You don't know if they had any civil unrest. You don't know what's going on. This is what you end up with. This is how stuff like that happens when folks don't want to sit up there and listen because they think something is bad over here in America. It's pretty much better somewhere else. Anywhere else is better versus being in the United States. And here we have it. Because at least even if and when this does happen in the United States, you still got a shot and a chance. Everybody here roughly speaks like the exact same language. There's a variety of different avenues and areas that you can go to and to get in contact with a variety of people to get processes moving. And even if you can't do all of that, you can still use social media. Everything that I listed, you can't do that over there in Zambia. You can't do that over there in Africa. You can make this woman, she can make a social media profile and talk all about Zambia. Do you think that the Zambian government is going to care? No. Do you think that the Zambian welfare office is going to care? No. Do you think that the Zambian people themselves are going to care? No. Do you think that any of that is going to help her get anything expedited? No, no, and no. This is what it looks like when folks don't want to listen. The other thing as well is, how is it possible that you decided to overstay your visa? I mean, maybe it might have been some hours or some days, but realistically, you should have made sure to have your stuff already packed and everything going a day, 2 or 3 ahead of time, because visa situations are very serious, as we can clearly see. So I'm just a little bit confused on why you took such a high risk and you didn't have everything in order that you needed to have in order. Like I said before, I don't know how she supernaturally overstayed her visa. That's wild. You're in a whole nother country. You have no rights legally. Those people do not care about you, and nor do they have to. Like I said, she's told you directly in a video that she herself was detained when she could not pay the money because their payment services over there in Zambia only allowed you to pull out a certain amount of money per day. And then she got detained because of how it is that they worked legally. And this is what I'll be talking about. Like you sitting up there like moving to and from places and you have no type of protection at all. You can't even protect yourself, both physically and legally. Can't do nothing. And this is what happened. Your kids got snatched. And now they probably about to be sold to like the highest bidder somewhere over there in Europe or some other African countries. They're probably about to be in some cargo ship or some cargo container because you opted that this is what you wanted to do. This is crazy. This is wild. This is 1,000% wild, man. Like I said, people need to stop playing games with their lives. People, and especially if you got kids, you can't afford to play games. You can't afford to sit up there and go out there and take unnecessary risks. You can't sit up there and do it. You can't sit up there and do it. And Villanark again, this is also what takes place when people always sit up there and say that they want protection, but they're not willing to pay attention and listen up until it's too late. You cannot protect or lead any group of people if they refuse to listen. And this is why I kept saying 99 different times, people are meant to find out when they're meant to find out. And this is what I mean. This is exactly what I'm talking about. But I promise you, somewhere out there in the echoes of social media space, somebody's already contemplating and putting together a video on how it is that a black man is at fault for this, or black men in the community for not building this and not building that and not putting up safety and whatnot or whatever. And how black men are the leaders of the household, and you're supposed to do this, and you can't lead those who don't want to be led. Right? But anyways, let's go to the next video here. Wait, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me take that one down and get the other video here.
Talk about this one for a second. Yeah. How is it that homes in Ghana are going for almost $4,000 a month to rent? I have a house back home in the States that is in Virginia that I do not even pay that much for. Like, that's actually crazy. I swear I love Ghana to death. I scream it in all of my videos, and I am moving here. But when I tell you, you would be surprised. This has been more common in our search. The homes are expensive here. They're getting expensive in a lot of areas. And it's not to say that you can't find some homes that are more reasonable, because they still do have those. However, it's getting real crazy out. It's getting real crazy out. So the fact that this is something that someone is saying to me, it's actually kind of wild. Yeah, I just say I would never pay that for anything in Ghana. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's talk about it, y'all. What do y'all think? Is that been y'all's experience? Like, anybody who's traveled over here, what is going on? There are even Airbnbs that are going for as much as like $300 a night. Even back home in the States, you would not even find that. Even like some areas like New York, DC, it's actually kind of crazy, but it's just a testament to how well the market is doing here in Ghana. Like, the prices are getting up there. It's highly sought after. I don't know what's happening with it, but it's popping. Let's talk about it, y'all.
So, Villain Arc again. I'm just going to state that the reason that they're doing this, and I'm going to go with the stats that people put out there. Black American women are the ones that have the most money, and they're traveling more than any other demographic directly out here. So people like to say. So with that, you have a lot of Black American women that opt to go to places in Africa, let's say such as Ghana. And if that is the case, if that is true, and again, you have educated, well-to-do, intelligent Black women that are going directly over there with their monies, that means that the prices are going to increase, because they'll be like, oh, you're Black American, you got money, you can afford it. We're going to jack up these prices. It'd be like that. It'd be like that. And she was like, hey, I got a house in Virginia that's less than this $4,000 a month. Like, why are these prices so high? It's because you're there. It doesn't take, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. It doesn't take, MacGyver. It doesn't take, anybody to figure out why these prices are going up. They know that you're Black American. They're going to automatically assume that you have the money, especially if you're able to travel, and they're going to jack up those prices. You got the money, you can pay for it. It's like I said, I don't know what else to sit up there and tell folks. I don't know what else to tell folks. This is what happens. Everybody around the world has showcased something like this happen. Whenever you have folks who are American decide that they want to start saying, like, let's say if you got Americans that want to start living in Mexico. At first, the prices in Mexico were completely, it was all right. It was no problem. You could sit up there and take, 10,000, 50 or whatever, and you're living comfortably. You're not worried about nothing. But the more and more that you got Americans like, I don't want to be in America no more because, everything is too high. Now you got them going to these other places, and now the prices are going to fluctuate because the landlords and everybody else, they realize them like, oh, we got these Americans here and they got all of this money. So instead of them having them pay our normal prices, we're going to jack up these prices so that we can get more directly out of them because they can afford it. And inadvertently of them jacking up the prices, that messes up everything locally for the locals. So the houses in Ghana are 4K. What does that then mean for the locals there? How does that deal for the average Ghanaian that wants to be able to afford and have a home and all this other type of, like I said, it's going to jack up everything. And it's not even just going to be the houses, it's going to be the restaurants, it's going to be local vendors, it's going to be the resorts, whatever it is that they got and everything. Like I said, it's going to move from one place to another place to another place. And people who are locally there are going to get priced out of a lot of stuff. But like I said before, that it'd be like that. It be like that. 100%. It be like that. At the end of the day, if people don't want to deal with these situations, then stop trying to move to and from, because you're complaining about an issue that that you yourself can't even fix. You wouldn't even be allowed to fix. So it's like, at this point, I have to just look at her or anybody else complaining about this as just content, because they're not going to do anything about it. They're not going to make no moves. They're not going to try to get into the government, which would never happen. Nor are they going to try to, get in with the government officials to, try to have some things go in a different light. It's just going to be nothing but complaints and countless videos directly on this topic. And again, to no avail. Nothing's ever going to change. But yet you heard within all of her complaint of the price going up and smiling, she said that she's still going to move there. So I'm like, it makes no sense. You're still going to move there, but you want to make a video talking about the price as if you can't afford it. It's crazy. 100% crazy. Let's go to the next one.
People.
I'm editing that out.
No, leave that there, because
that's not allowed.
no, seriously, white people are good for us because we have so many things because of white people.
Let me where the Pan-Africans at? Where the like, when I look at a lot of videos and I listen to Africans speak, I always think to myself, what would a Pan-African say? Because you're not going to speak against it, because you can't. Like, these are your people. You're supposed to be, this is the motherland, right? These are the originators of everything, right? So I'm like, what could a Pan-Africanist really state against what she said? Let me just repeat. Let me just.
I love white people.
I'm editing that out.
No, leave that there, because
that's not allowed.
no, seriously, white people are good for us because we have so many things because of white people.
Woo! And these are the same folks still to this day practicing slavery over there in Africa. Color me surprised. Color me surprised. She says that she loves white people because of white people. There are so many things that they wouldn't even have. This is running right along with the previous video that I gave you guys last year, where two African men on two separate occasions basically said and parroted the exact same thing this African woman said. And not only that, was literally walking, talking, and thanking white people basically for slavery. He was like, without the white man, there would be no life in Africa. So when I hear this stuff, I have to think to myself, I'm like, I really feel as though that Pan-Africans really feel the exact same way as these Africans that say that they love white people. As wild. It would make sense why Pan-Africans want Black Americans to go over there to Africa. Y'all want people to go back into slavery. You just want to be able to choose who's the one that's going to be doing the slavery. That's what it is. You're like, we done did it over there in America. We don't need to do that slavery no more. Let's go over to Africa and let the Africans, be the slave traders, and split people amongst the Swahili and the Arabs and the other folks directly out there. That's some crazy work. Also, to know Africans are the exact same ones who sell their kids over to folks over there in Europe, such as like the UK. An African wrote a book about his experience of his family basically selling him to the highest bidder. So yeah, but like I said, shout out to the Pan-Africanists, because they're the ones sitting up there saying that Africa is the place. That's the spot. That's where all of us need to sit up there and go. We need to go back home. Go back home to slavery. Let's continue.
I want you to know. Yes,
yeah, but
that's
they made us go do that stuff.
Why are you giving them credit when they can't?
Because that's how it was meant to be.
I think, and listen, I think this is a wonderful moment that we're going to have,
Yeah.
and that's still going to get 100% edited out because the people would hate that. The people.
Like how, as in, okay.
That's what I do.
But I was also very curious. I was also very curious here about the different views on colonization, different views, because I hold a resentment towards white people unless they
But they
personally,
didn't.
show me that they're good. I believe they're bad because I've been proven by so many, by history, by the way things are going now, that things are good for them and bad for us. Things are good for them at the expense of us. At our expense, still now to this day. They're doing well because Africa is doing bad. Apple is doing well because fuck Congo. Saudi is doing well because fuck Sudan. Like all these other people are doing well because fuck Africa. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's I can't forgive them until that doesn't exist anymore. The history is so awful. I went to the museum today and I'm seeing pictures of what they were doing to Kenyan people, and it feels just like America. It feels just like you see pictures of harmful, just terrible scenes of babies, seeing people being shot, and these white people came over here like, I want this, I want that, and you still see where the white people were here. You still see it. They have everything. I want this, I want that, kill this person, take that, take. They pillaged. And how do you not resent them? How do you not? You know what I mean? I just really want, I notice black Americans feel a way about white people generally, but black folks in the Caribbean, black folks in Africa, you guys are much more open to them in a very interesting way to me. You guys are much more open to them. And I would just hope, or my personal opinion is that to not give them that love and respect or access to yourself until they put some money in your pocket. They don't deserve access to us. They don't deserve access to our language, culture, especially our bodies, until they put some fucking money in our pockets or make something better. Make something better. Because they haven't done that and we're just letting them off the hook. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? They have everything. They have everything. They're here with everything. They're here rich. Have you guys seen poor white people here?
No.
But there's surely a lot of white people here doing fine. There's black people outside begging. There's white people out here fucking chilling.
Yeah, but I feel like the struggle, I feel like in a way, the Black American people and the African people, we have a disconnect because we don't know your struggles. Like for us, it's like, for example, if my mom went to, what's this? She went to Seattle like 10 years ago.
Okay.
So for her, she wasn't looking to like my people, the black people. She was like, I'm here to work. I need to make ends meet. I need to do this for my kids. So whatever the white man needs, and it's like getting out of that mindset, and it's like our issues are more than being recognized. As long as you respect me, you're paying my check, we have that professional relationship, whatever. I'm not gonna like try to have my rights. If you
So you heard that, right? That African woman, and this is why I try to sit up there and tell a lot of folks, especially to black American women out here, just because you see these African women out here don't mean that they are here for you, don't mean that they're allies, don't mean that they love you, like you, or think that y'all are in some type of coalition. They care not. They will do everything to undercut you and take your jobs. I know this due to the fact that my mom, who is a nurse, she explains to me all the time about the African nurses there, the Caribbean nurses there, and the Indian nurses there, and how it is that they act when it deals with black American women, and how it is that they would come together and formulate this, that, and the third, and they'll try to automatically get black American women up out of there. And they don't care what it is that white people have to sit up there and say. They don't care about no racial slurs. They don't care about no microaggressions of racism or anything like that. Even if it's overt, they care nothing about that. They'll be like, yo, as long as you sitting up there paying me, you can call me whatever you want to sit up there and call me. Because at the end of the day, I know that I'm African. I know I'm not black American. I can care less about that. Just give me my money. And these are supposed to be the people that we're going to ally ourselves with. She don't care about nothing. She just literally said that she don't care about nothing. Her mom didn't care about nothing going to Seattle 10 years ago. She don't care about nothing either. You had that dude sitting across on the couch to her explaining things that black Americans basically went through and how it is that we cannot forgive white folks because a lot of the stuff that happened in the past is still happening still to this day, still being implemented in a variety of ways. And her face was just blank. She was like, okay, and I don't care. What does that have to do with me? How does that affect me? Like I said before, this is why you got so many interracial relationships over there in Africa. This is why you see so many African women over there with a European man. Or just like that video I gave y'all guys before, where I think it was in Kenya, and it was a Kenyan woman. She was like, "Yeah, you don't have to go too far before you start to see an African woman with a white man." And I was like, "Oh, color me surprised." So, like I said, I would not be too shocked within about a good 15 to 20 years that you start having a nice high population of biracial Kenyan kids over there in Africa, because those women are literally hunting down European dudes. Wouldn't be too shocked, but you can't tell nobody nothing. People think that white worship is not a real thing. People think that a type of white privilege is not a real thing. It is. It is. But let's keep going.
Yeah.
As a black girl, okay, so it's okay to say that as a black woman or someone from Africa, if I go to the States, it's okay for me to bend over backwards to please you as a white person just as long as I get paid.
It's not about the white person. It's about knowing your goals and knowing your network and how to deal with different people. So it's more about seeing someone's race. But if someone is being racist towards you, you figure out how to deal with that in the wisest way possible, and you move forward to people who actually can help you win at life.
That's wild. That is 100% wild. And you know the crazy part about this is, looking directly at her, if I were to just technically freeze this, I mean, I can tell that she's obviously from somewhere else, right? But when you look directly at the hair, the aesthetics, and the clothes, it reads Black American woman. Just saying. I got to bring that back up because a lot of folks like to say that Black Americans don't have a type of style or a culture. We don't, make waves or anything like that. And when I look at how she is dressed, I don't see nothing African here. I see things that I've normally seen Black American women in the United States normally wear, including how her hair is styled. Just saying, had to point that out. Just saying, just had to point that out. But let's continue.
This is exactly why FBA was created. Read this comment. Good, because Ghana does not speak for foundational Black Americans. We don't need Ghana speaking for our reparations. We already have grassroots people out here going to work on our reparations claim. Ghana does not speak for foundational Black Americans regarding our birthright. Ghana used to be called Slave Coast, meaning a vast majority of the slaves that were taken away from Africa were taken from Ghana. A vast majority. If there's one country that has the right to ask for reparations for anyone, it's Ghana. A lot of people forget that during Trump's first campaign as president, when he first ran for presidency, Trump, Biden, what's her name? Hillary Clinton, reparations was part of the conversation. Reparations had gotten so serious that it was part of the political debate for Black Americans. And then FBA came in. Tariq Nasheed, they picked a man who has been on TV multiple times saying he will do anything for money. Tariq Nasheed has been on, I think it's Maury, not Maury. He has been on, these Maury type TV shows.
All right. So let me just freeze it right there. I just want to point out the fact that this man is Nigerian. He stated that he's Nigerian. The problem that I have with him speaking on Tariq Nasheed is the fact that Nigerians are known to be liars. Nigerians are known to be thieves as well. This Nigerian man stated to his Nigerian brothers and sisters on TikTok that yes, his father is a scammer and a thief, and he stole their money, and he has their money. He himself stated this with his own words. I even put this up directly on, I think it was a video or a live stream. He said it himself, and he says that you're not going to do anything about it. You're going to sit there and make videos or complain, but you're not going to come to him. Those Nigerians are not going to come to this Nigerian man and take that money. He dared them to sit up there and do it, and they didn't do nothing. So now I'm supposed to take his words as a thief, as a scammer. You got a family history, right? You got a whole family history of thievery and scamming to the point where your dad thieved and scammed over in Nigeria, ran and flee and came to the United States. And now you're living off of that thievery and that scamming of the money from your own people. And now I'm supposed to sit up there and believe any words that you got to say about a Black American man. And you're trying to say that he is this government agent, this, and this, that, and all this other type of stuff when you literally stole and ran from your people. And then you want to try to sit up there and tell me as a Black American that these white political faces really had the best interest of giving reparations to Black Americans. Do y'all not understand that the reason that Kamala Harris, that Joe Biden, and Hillary Clinton even spoke anything about reparations is because they wanted to try to get the Black vote. That was it. Hillary Clinton was the exact same one that said that she carried hot sauce in her purse. And Charlemagne the guy called her out and he was like, you don't really carry hot sauce in your purse. She was like, well, I don't, but is it working? Joe Biden is the same exact one that sat up there and said that you're not Black if you don't vote for me. Well, I guess I'm not Black. Kamala Khan, aka Kamala Harris, with her white husband, who's Indian, not a Black woman, decided few things happened. She had an interview with an Indian man, and he said that she was the first Indian representative in the Senate or whatever it was, and she didn't correct him. I was like, oh, so you're not Black. There were also pictures directly out there. This was the same woman that sat up there and said that she's not going to only specifically do something for Black people. But yet, Biden signed into law things for specifically the Asian community. These exact same folks signed in laws in order to represent and protect immigrants. But yet none of those officials wanted to sit down and specifically make laws, rules, or regulations in order to help, benefit, or protect Black Americans. But yet he wants to bring up white people in order to basically state that Tariq Nasheed is the greatest evil. Okay. That's crazy. That's some diabolical work. Diabolical work. Also, want to give much love, respect, and appreciation. Shout out to Brandon V. World for the $2 dono. He said, huh? Whatever about my rights, talking about the African woman that was directly up there. Some crazy work. That is some crazy work, 100%. But let's keep going.
He has been on a bunch of them. He has tried being a pimp. Literally, look this up. He has tried being a pimp. He has tried being a musician. He has tried doing anything. And he has been on TV. Tariq Nasheed, pimp, with his thing. He was there smiling, saying, yeah, I'll do anything for money. Heritage Foundation, the group behind Project 2025, saw that video, saw that guy. They said, we found our man. They came to him. He has a biracial wife and he lives with his white mother-in-law. They said to him, we want you to start a movement. We will pay you. We will give you talking points. He said, okay. And now here it is. Black people have talked. Y'all ain't getting no reparations. FBA, if you're not already rich, y'all ain't getting. And trust me, the reparations coming to Africa. Africans know it's not coming to us. It's going to our government. And by extension, it's going to the pockets of the families that run the African governments. It's not going to any African institution. It won't be used to fix any road. It won't be used to fix any school. It won't be used to buy anything that Africans need. It will go directly to the pockets of the families that run African politics. The only people that had a shot at actually getting this money. I'm not even going to talk about CARICOM because CARICOM, they're twice as up as Africa. I don't know. Caribbeans are on some other. Haiti, what do you think Haiti's going to do when they get their money? Haiti that's selling passport to Dominicans. The only people that actually had a shot of receiving their actual cash in hand and doing something about it are the one people who have been convinced to not take anything. You let your hatred for Africans and your superiority knock you out of. They used a pimp. A racist organization used a pimp because they knew.
So I'm just trying to figure out from this Nigeria, at what point in time was Black Americans going to receive reparations in their hand in their bank accounts? When? At what point in time? Nowhere during the Obama or the Biden administration did we receive any type of reparations. So magically, it was going to go from Obama to Biden. So if Kamala Harris basically won, magically then we were supposed to get this reparations, this magical monies. People forgot during the, because Petra's Farm remembers, right? And I talked about this countless times that during the pandemic, there were talk of reparations. And, you know, everybody came out and basically said, no. We don't got the money for reparations. America's broke and this is that and the third, right? America's broke, right? But during the pandemic, somehow, some way, America found a way to get trillions of dollars in order to help out the American people. So what the United States basically said is that we're going to lie to you. We're going to tell you that we don't got the money. Realistically, we do. We just don't want to sit up there and give it just to you. We're not going to do that. AKA what Kamala Harris said. She was like, I'm not just going to do stuff for black people. I'm not just going to do this for black people. That's what America said. I'm not just going to do this for black people. I'll do it for everybody. So any of the reparations talk, any of that reparations money that you wanted, this is what's going to happen. We're going to disperse that to all of the American people. But remember, we told you that we're broke though, but we're going to give trillions of dollars to all of the American people. And not only that, we're also going to sit up there and send hundreds of billions of dollars over to other countries. But yet, remember, America told you we're broke. So we are broke, but we're still going to send this money over to these other countries to supply for, you know, whatever that they need. And we're also going to sit up there and give people these pandemic checks. Yeah. But somehow listening to this Nigerian, black America is going to sit up there and receive reparations. Huh? America's broke, remember? We in debt. We got like $40 trillion worth of debt. Where are they going to get the money from? Right. I guess we would need another pandemic to figure out where they would get their money from, right? That's crazy. That's diabolical.
There's only two groups of black Americans and South Africans are the only two black people who grew up, who were born, raised, and been around white people who, from the moment they were born, have lived under oppression. Those two groups, for some reason, hate every other group of black people. They feel superior to that group of black. Like, it's weird. And you really let your hatred and your superiority you out of your own reparations. Y'all gonna see. You will hate me all you want. You will say what you want to say in the comments, but you will one day, after 10 years, you'll come back to this video and realize I didn't say anything wrong.
You know, the funny thing is, shout out to the white people that's in the comment section whenever we have a talk about reparations. You know, the craziest part about this is y'all gonna be some of the first ones whenever civil unrest and civil war and chaos breaks out in these United States. Y'all gonna be some of the main ones getting put into these internment camps. I want you to understand that. The same way that you have chattel slavery in the United States, walk of 1,000 tears, same way that you set up there and put the Chinese and the Japanese into camps back in California, and the many other things that atrocities that y'all have done. I want y'all to know that your own government, white people, are going to put white people into these internment camps, into these slave type of areas. I want you to understand. I'm talking about specifically to the white folks that are in this comment section right now, talking about, oh, you think that you guys deserve reparations? Oh, you guys have already gotten reparations. This is why, because of your mouth, this is why your population is dwindling. This is why you have a high area of ED. This is why your sperm count is so low. This is why your egg count is so low. This is why cancer is taking you out at this moment in time. This is clear cut the reason why you can't even survive long enough directly in the sun like everybody else. And that's not hate. I'm just talking facts. I'm dealing with the melanin that is directly within one's skin. You severely lack that. Obviously, God was like, hey, you don't need this. Even though this is a warm planet. Third rock from the sun. Everything else is able to survive and thrive directly off of the sunlight except for you. The only people that I know who aren't able to do that, you know, dealing with, you know, fictitious stories are vampires. Color me surprised. But I guess over the years of folks being vampires, you had some scientific research and you came up with SPF 15, which is basically white, what it appears to be white, right? But it goes on clear, but underneath UV light, it's black. So the exact same folks that you got all of this mouth to talk about online are the exact same folks that you had to basically copy in order to survive just a little bit longer. how the mighty have fallen. And you guys are the same ones that basically say that you are gods. If you are such gods, why has the universe forsaken you? Why has your creator decided to not give you something that everybody else basically has? Trees basically have it, right? You got bacteria in the ocean that got some form of it, able to sit up there and survive. Different types of animals. Everybody is able to live and thrive directly off of the sun, except for you. But you're the superior beings. You're the elites. You're the champions. You're the masters of the universe. That's crazy. That's diabolical in nature, but you got the nerve to run your mouth directly in my comment section, sitting up there talking about that Black Americans don't deserve reparations, and why would you get something for something that was so long ago and all this other type of stuff. For something that, for a group of people that's been here for so long, which really you haven't. It's amazing the type of mouth that you have. You haven't even been on this planet long enough. This is why you haven't evolved past what it is that you currently are at this moment in time. And the only thing that you know how to do is kill, steal, and create wars. Huh? America really has never been at peace. We sat up there and went to war with Vietnam, and you guys allowed it. You sacrificed everybody's kids. Lost. White people lost. Deeply lost. Don't even want to admit that loss. We did the war on terror. Shout out to the Bush administration. Your kids, again, your families, sacrifice, lost, deep, lost. Like white people, y'all just be sitting up there loving taking L's, spending money. Y'all are the only group of people on this planet that can lose track of trillions of dollars. Out of all of the thievery that you like to sit up there, oh, blacks, you guys are thieves. You guys do this and you guys have ruined America. How do white people, the ones in control, masters of the universe, how do you lose track of trillions of dollars? How do you lose track of billions of dollars? I've never seen, I can't even count that. But y'all seemingly have had it in your hands and lost it instantly. But yet, you got people out there considering black people to be liquid money. Word? Everything you touch goes directly into ruin. Even the things that you quote unquote create or founded goes into ruin. It's crazy. It's crazy. That is the best job that you've ever held, which is either working in a morgue or being a warmonger. That's it. Those are your best jobs and creations that you have on the face of this planet. If there was a patent that could be placed directly out there, white people, that's y'all. Y'all got that. 1,000-fold. 1,000-fold. Diabolical work. It's crazy out here. That's crazy. So for Nate, you said that I sound ignorant. I'm fine with that. I'll be ignorant and melanated. Matter of fact, we should actually have a contest and step out into the sun and see who will last the longest without burning. How about that for ignorant? So would I be ignorant for saying that, or would it be ignorant in the sense of whoever created you decided to do? Like which one are we going to go for? Because I'm pretty sure, even though I know that chances are you're pagan, right? Because you guys believe in a multitude of gods. Shout out to the Romans and the Greeks and all of these other types of things, or might be an atheist. I don't know, right? But how will we sit up there and try to figure that out? Would I be ignorant, or would you say the person that created you is ignorant for not giving you the protection that you needed to survive on a warm planet? That's crazy. Like, shouldn't you basically be on Pluto? Just saying, like something that's a little bit colder. Pluto, Io, Europa, somewhere out there yonder. I'm just saying, just trying to sit up there and figure some stuff out. Like I said, it's crazy. It's diabolical. People always want to talk about black people. And the craziest part is the amount of folks directly up here that want to call me ignorant because they're offended, but they don't want to talk about the other points that I brought up, which is America lying to the people, saying that they're broke and that they don't have the money, but then somehow, some way, stumbling upon $1 trillion. Nor will these people have a unique problem with the United States government giving over money to other countries, hundreds of billions of dollars, knowing the fact that our infrastructure is failing, knowing the fact that our roads are crap, EMS services, crap, hospitals, crap, police and firefighters, crap. You have more of a problem emotionally about what I had to say because it was in a rebuttal to the responses that I was getting in the comment section versus looking past that and listening to the very specific things that I stated about the government. This is how stupid people are. But I'm the one that's ignorant. Okay. Like I say, keep voting for the elites. Keep doing that and keep thinking that rich people are going to really provide you with change. Right? The difference between black people and white people is that black people understand that we're not really free because we've never been free. White people live under the assumption of everything is free because of who it is that they are and who so quote unquote created said freedom. Because you've never really had to face a moment in time that you've been placed, historically speaking, into a type of slavery repeatedly and all these other types of things, you don't actually know what's going on. You're going through here with like rose-colored glasses and thinking that everything is everything. And like I said before, your own movies are depicting what is going to happen, the civil unrest, the chaos, and everything else of how your own white people in your communities are going to be split so much so that guns are going to be drawn directly on you and your families. And you're going to have to basically prove to people, how American are you? What side of America are you for? Like I said, y'all so dumb. And you want to sit up there and start talking about black folks. That's crazy. Like I said, y'all got it. Y'all got it though. It's gonna be real funny directly out here. Also, case in note, directly to the white people, since we're ignorant, y'all are the main reasons that a lot of these jobs got outsourced and still getting outsourced directly to this day. You're also the main reason why Vanguard and BlackRock, has a lot of these homes. You're also the reason why it is that your kids probably aren't even going to actually be able to own a home. Like, you're literally looking at the last part of a generation that has the ability to potentially still own and have a house. Barely. Your kids and grandkids, nah. The only way that you're going to be able to do that is to go and run to another country, which clearly you guys are. And that's the other thing that I want to talk about too, right? How white people sit up there and say that they love America so much, but yet they're running to other countries. How does that work? White people are running to South America. White people are running to, Mexico. White people are running to Africa. Out of all places, Africa, known as the dark continent. White people have always said that there is nothing there. White people have always said that they believe in segregation, that they don't want to live around the blacks. But why is it that white people, especially white Americans, are going over there to Africa, but you don't want to be around the blacks? That's a little bit weird to me. Like, it's nothing but melanated folks directly over there, and that's what you want to surround yourself with? Wow. How the mighty have fallen. I thought y'all were rich. I thought, out of anything, I thought white people would have went back to Europe. I guess not. I guess y'all didn't want to go to Europe. You don't want to go to Russia? You don't want to go to Moscow? You don't want to go to Germany? That's crazy. You don't want to go to the Netherlands? You don't want to go to, New Zealand, Australia, stuff like you want to go to like none of those places where it's actually just you? That's wild. That's wild. But let's keep going.
White Granny said about black people at the No Kings rally. Watch this.
It seems like there's a lack of diversity here today. That it's mostly people who look like you and I. And I just
It is not for black people, for people of color to get out on the street. They're at risk when they do that. If anybody's going to get arrested here, it's going to be a black person. It is not safe for them, and they don't need to participate. We need to walk in their name.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. Okay.
I know that's right, Granny. She said, look here, Nate. Leave black folks alone. They do not need to be out here in these streets. She said, this is not their fight. They not the ones who put this orange in office. It was white folks. So we need to be the ones to try to get his mother out. She said the only thing that's going to happen if black folks come out is they're going to get their ass arrested. And we don't need that. So we going to keep on fighting the good fight because they done fought enough. Nate was shooketh. He was not expecting Granny to say that. Talking about some, wow, okay. Then he asked her about voter ID.
What do you
So let me just pause that real quick. So amongst the content that I do like to point out where you have a 1% of the time where folks like this older white woman that is obviously level-headed, not emotional. She can think logically. The racism that a lot of white people are indoctrinated directly into by the system in the United States, it's obviously not there. And she's like, yeah, black people don't need to be here. Because I know that if it came down to black people getting arrested, being at this protest to me, the police is going to arrest black people first every single time. And the craziest part is you have a lot of folks out there that want to be dismissive of the truth. They don't want to pay attention to it. They're like, oh, racism doesn't exist. That'll never happen. Why does race have to be a part of this? Because in every single protest, race is always a part of it. I sat up there and told y'all. Matter of fact, I didn't even tell y'all. I sat up there and did a video. And I showcased the last time I sat up there and went to a protest. And again, that was during the pandemic. That was back when, everybody was like, hey, this is the thing to do. We're in support of what it basically meant, right? Which is Black Lives Matter, right? Again, not saying that nobody else's lives don't matter, because whatever stupid individuals out there, they want to make it seem like, oh, this is what you guys, that's not what anybody said. That's how you took it, because you're stupid. Now, during that protest, I'm sitting up there walking the same as everybody else in the streets. Everybody's protesting. People got signs and everything of the sort. And slowly but surely, there was a cop car directly in the background, moving very slowly right behind me with no type of sirens or lights, didn't even honk the horn. And I'm like, wow. Color me surprised on that if I didn't turn around, that he probably would have ran me directly over. And I'm like, that's a little bit wild, because I'm like, as a cop, you should be letting people know that you're there. Because I'm not sure if people actually understand it. The way that these cop cars are now, their engines have a very, very low vibration and a very low hum. So you're not going to be able to hear them like you would other cars. Right? And I'm like, now I understand why it is that people decide that they want to, they have a certain reaction, right? For lack of a better word, because I got to be very careful with my words, because people try to take it, the wrong way. But I understand why people have a reaction when it deals with the police and police cars. I understand. And that's because they deliberately do stuff in order to try to cause interactions and problems. Crazy work. But anyways, let's continue.
think about voter ID? Do you think it's racist?
It's 100% a tactic to control the population and prevent people from voting, so that the only votes so that the gerrymandering can work, so that white voters can vote in white Christian males.
Hell yeah, it's racist. Then he had the nerve to ask her if she had a vote between Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance, who would she vote for? And this is what she said.
If you had to vote for a Republican, J.D. Vance or Rubio, which one would you pick if you had to?
Yeah. I would slit my throat.
Ooh, yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Granny said, stop playing with me, Nate. You know good and goddamn well I wouldn't vote for nan one of them. Go ahead and take me out. If that's my only options, then I'm going to go ahead and take myself out, because you got me. She said, I'm going up a yonder. I'm going up a yonder to be with my love. Before she vote for Rubio or J.D. Vance. Not happening. I don't know who Meemaw this is, but she officially Granny. That's Nana right there. She not Meemaw no more. That's black people's Nana right there. You got allies and you got accomplices. And Granny is an accomplice. She gonna get out there in the field with black folks and put in that work. She not just gonna sit there and talk. She gonna put action to her mother words. Granny said, you got the right mother one today, Nate. Did y'all see what that white granny said about black
You know, the craziest part about this whole thing here, because this person wanted to say, we Hispanics will never vote for a black candidate. You're not on our side. That's some crazy work. That is diabolical in nature. I feel as though that we're on the exact same stance. I would not vote for your candidates either, because historically speaking, you're white. Your last name is what? Cruz? You're white. You're not going to be able to tell me nothing different. Multiple times, no, it didn't freeze. Technically I had myself muted. I thought I was talking. I was incorrect. It be like that sometimes because you get focused, right? But a multitude of times, your folks have pulled up to the scene and they have proceeded to tell Black Americans that they are not about that life, a variety of ways. Right. So let me just give you for any of the other cruises that's directly in this comment section that wanted to start popping off and saying whatnot or whatever. Let's go to this exhibit right here. Right. We got your forefathers right here. We know that they're Hispanic, but they basically said that they're white, which also makes you white. Within each one of these, one said that let me see if I can zoom this in for myself, right? One said that Latin Americans of Mexican descent belong to the Caucasian race and therefore are white. So again, why, Mr. Cruz? Why would I, as a Black American, vote for any of your candidates if I know that you side with white folks? Even in prisons, when prison fights break out, you guys go with the Aryan side of things, which is Caucasian, which is white. You would never align yourself or side with Black Americans. So if you're not going to do that in prison, and in prison, it's always war, right? You got to pick sides. You got to choose a side. You can't sit up there and straddle the fence. And you chose to be with white people. Why would I think on the outside? Why would I think just naturally amongst everyday people that you're going to be directly with Black folks? Matter of fact, weren't y'all the same ones where I covered a story where it dealt with Google and Black Americans? Everybody was having an issue with racial discrimination in Google. But you guys separately wanted to have your own lawsuit and made sure to tell the judge that you don't want the Blacks to be a part of your lawsuit. And you ended up getting like $28 million. So then Black people had to go out there and do their own separate lawsuit. And they got about 50 something plus $million. Crazy work, though. Had to sit up there and do our own lawsuits. Had to do our own lawsuits because people didn't want to work with us. People didn't want to sit up there and see, eye to eye directly with us. And then I think you wrote, you were sitting up here saying that I, as a Black American, I'm playing as a victim. Cool, no problem. I want you to hold my beer real quick. Now who played the division card directly on these elections here? Doesn't that clearly say Latinos for President Trump? Isn't that what that is? Didn't Trump, I gave you guys a video of Trump where he said that Border Patrol and ICE agents, the greater majority were Hispanic. But then I see people out here crying about ICE when really you should be looking at your own people that are traitors, who are turncoats. But somehow, some way, we ended up having folks turn this whole situation and make it directly about Black Americans and put Black Americans at fault for ICE. How does that work, Cruz? I just need to know, how does that work? How does that work? Like, that's crazy. You guys are in shambles at this moment in time. Like I said, y'all came up with one of the greatest songs. I will vote dun, 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 for Donald Trump. Dun, 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 dun. Y'all came up with the hit. Like that was bigger than anything of like Ricky Martin, Mambo number 5, and any other artist that you can basically list. Y'all came up with a hit that will forever be known in history. It will go down in the annals of history. Always be remembered. Y'all did that. Trump got into office. Y'all did that. Y'all held Trump down since his first election. But somehow, some way, y'all decided that y'all wanted to turn around and blame Black Americans, and y'all wanted to put us at fault for your own internment. They literally turned Walmarts into internment camps for you, not for nobody else, for you. But that was because of your own selective choices that you decided to make during this election. Voila, here you go. You said that you're white, therefore you are, and you voted white, and you got the consequences of which you deserve. And it lets you know that you're not really white, even under law. The same law, let me just go back to that previous image that I gave to you, even after what it is that you guys specifically fought directly for. Right? So let me go back and read the top part, because we got, crews up there blocking. I gotta, use that for, an example. It'd be like that sometimes. So let me just take that directly down so that we can clearly see that top part directly up there. And it says that Mexican American advocacy groups, notably the LULAC in the 1930s, successfully lobbied to ensure individuals of Mexican origin were classified as white on the United States Census to avoid a severe discrimination associated with being non-white, while also fighting for social equality. This was a strategic effort to claim political and social acceptance. What happened? What happened? What happened? You said, why are you sure, bro? I clearly am looking directly at those who are older than any of us. This is back in the 1930s. Clearly, nobody here that's in the stream is from the 1930s. So we're looking at some history here. And then we're looking at some present day information when it deals with the election. And on top of that, it says down at the bottom, Latinos for Trump. Yeah. Okay. Some crazy work. It's like I said, it's amazing how a lot of folks don't want to pay attention to the obvious that is directly up there. It's crazy work. I love it though. It's 100%. I love it. I love it. But like I said, going back to the previous information, you guys basically lobbied in order to be called white because you wanted to be socially accepted into white America. You didn't want to be, looked at as different. Matter of fact, I got videos of your elders, your community, talking about segregation and how it is that they weren't specifically segregated, because when white people had to be on a bus, they were sitting with the white folks, and the black people had to stand at the back of the bus. And even if there was a black section there, if there were black seats, right, there were seats for whites and seats for blacks or colored, those black people on those black seats had to give up their seats for everybody else. Another elder directly in one of those videos specifically stated that when she was going to and from Texas, that her mom, was taking her through or somewhere down south, that she had to ask her mom, what is a colored water fountain? And she's Hispanic. She didn't know what a colored water fountain is, because more than likely they just drank from the white water fountain. But like I said before, it's crazy. It's diabolical how, people want to overlook certain types of things, or they want to sit up there and look at black Americans like, oh, you guys bringing up these facts. It's divisive. This was so long ago. You're talking about these few amount of people. That's not indicative of the group. No, actually it is. Because even after this group, you can look at the Cubans, first, second, and third wave, and how it is that they decided to go directly into the whiteness when it dealt with society, and how they folded themselves directly into that and made sure to segregate themselves from black Americans. Like I said, there's books on this, but I guess that's too factual. I guess those facts are lies, and then the lies are basically the actual facts. That's the world that we basically live in at this moment in time, where people would rather believe in lies versus the truth. It'd be like that though. So this is why people have to deal with the things dealt with the United States government. And because of that truth, they would rather believe in the lies that black Americans are at fault for the reason that they are suffering. Crazy work. But then want to turn around and sit up there and say that they want reparations. But then at the same time, they don't want to be on the side of black Americans when they're trying to advocate for it and try to go out there and get reparations from the United States government. That's crazy. It's crazy how that works. But I'm the crazy one. I'm the ignorant one. Wild. 100%. Better try Jesus. But anyways, Wait, did we finish this one? Let me see. Hold on.
Exactly how they act.
Okay. So now getting away from Cruz there. We're going to oh, I know you're white and you're pulling up here with a Japanese name. Yeah, we're not doing that, brother. I'll ban you myself. We're not even doing that. Nope, you shouldn't even have did it. You should have came in here with a normal name. We ain't doing that. Nah. So now we're moving away from the whole thing dealing with Cruz. We're going to go to these other videos here. And we're going to highlight this thing here, right? Let's look at this.
This is exactly how they act. This is why they're killing people in Burkina Faso. Look at the scamming coon. Look at the scamming coon, Umar. Been building a school for 15 years. Look at him, scammer. He literally said he's living off of donations. Look at the scammer. Savage animals, that's what they are. That's why they women in charge of these. They women in charge of these. Look at them. I'm not a New Yorker. You ain't. But anyway, this is why they're going into Burkina Faso killing soldiers and civilians. They steal from them. Look at the scammer. Look at the scammer, Umar. Look at the scammer, Umar. Look at him. I seen your daughter high on TikTok Live. She was with Meatball high on TikTok Live. Do you care about your daughter, scammer? Do you scare? You're in the right place, scammer. Your daughter is high on TikTok Live. Talking to strangers. Look at Umar the scammer. He joined the great country of Ghana, second highest scammer country in Africa. Look at him. Go ahead, Umar. Go be a daddy to your children. Go raise your kids, Umar. You scammer. I like you wearing your natural hair. Beautiful. I like that. Oh, shut up. Who defends a billionaire, illegal miner, African seller?
Right. So we had let me see if I can actually get him directly in the clip. So yeah, brother Umar here. I'm not sure what was going on, but this woman wanted to be directly out there. The only one basically yelling and hollering directly at him. You're a scammer, school, this is that and the third and all this other type of stuff, right? All right, cool, fine, right? This has been my problem with the longest time, and this is what I've stated 99 different times. For all of the people that have made videos of Umar, again, making money, right? They say that they're pointing out a problem and an issue, but yet they're not being a solution. The only thing that they're doing is consistently making video on video on video on video on video and making money, and that's it. Right? Specifically off his name because they can't do it themselves. My main thing that I've always stated is that instead of going there and giving him attention, which is what's happening, because that's only going to draw more people directly to Dr. Umar Johnson, why not be the solution to the problem? If you're saying that he's a scammer, why not start up the school? Why don't you build something up directly in the community instead of going to Dollar General, the dollar store, getting a bullhorn and being out there waiting in line? Literally, you're waiting like an extra fan, waiting in line so that you can scream and get attention from Dr. Umar. Again, weird behavior. Why not go online? All that energy, getting up your high blood pressure, getting everything directly up, potentially putting another foot directly in grave. Instead of doing that, why not be the solution, which is get all of these other people that's been complaining about Umar Johnson from the longest time possible, who've been saying that, oh, Umar, he's not doing this, he's stealing from black people and whatnot. Why don't all of these people get together and open up a school? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. For the longest time possible, I've been seeing people complain for about, what, like 10 years? Has it been? I think it's been close to about like 10 years. Yeah, about like 10 years. People been getting directly online just solely complaining. But none of these people, for whatever reason, can never unify and come together, formulate Voltron, and get a school up and running. With 10 years, all of these people complaining and making money off of Umar's name, I'm pretty sure they could have got a school up and running. But it goes back into what I stated before, that it's easier to complain versus actually being solution driven and performing those actions. Because at the end of the day, each and every one of these people who are complaining about Dr. Umar, they don't want to be responsible. And those are just the facts. Because if these people legitimately actually cared about the kids, if they legitimately actually cared about the school and the community, they would have been did it. I want to note to a lot of people, because I remember back when Tariq Nasheed said that he was opening up that the museum out there in Los Angeles, right? There was a lot of black folks like, oh no, he's not. Y'all done set up there. Tariq Nasheed, he's a scammer. Y'all done gave him $2 million. He ain't nothing gonna happen from it. Ain't that building's never gonna be built. And this is that and the third and rah 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 and da 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 da. Right? All of those people. It was a whole bunch of naysayers. All of a sudden, real quick, as soon as they saw that money up there, but then as soon as it was built and it was established, oh, magically those people, they ain't had nothing to say. Magically, they were nowhere to be found. Magically, all those videos they were making were stopped. And then from there, people started moving the goalpost. They're like, oh, the building is there, but it's not an actual museum. It doesn't have actual artifacts. It doesn't have, like, y'all just kept moving around. No matter what was happening, just kept moving the goalpost. But again, if you felt that Tariq Nasheed was not going to build a museum, why didn't y'all get all of y'all complaining asses directly up and establish a museum? Like I said, all of this is crazy to me. All of this complaint, but yet I don't see no type of action at all. I done seen both Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Umar Johnson both receive complaints from those in the black community. And those same exact people in the black community complaining ain't doing nothing. So what's happening? Like, what's really happening? Like this is crazy. Like it's crazy to the point where even on my platform, I didn't have people sit up and say, "Oh yeah, I'm not I'm not this, I'm not that, and I'm not a part of no community, and this, that, and the third." But I'm like, so if you're not a part of a community, then how is anything supposed to actually happen? Because I've never heard Asians sit up there and say that they're not a part of a community. Don't call me Asian. Don't call me this. Don't call me that. I've never seen the Africans technically do the exact same thing, because all of these groups, the Africans, the Latinos, the Mexicans, the Asians, the Arabs, everybody else in these United States, they got their own community. You don't see their people online sitting up there talking about, oh no, don't call me this, and I'm not a part of that, and all this other type of stuff. They were like, hey, we're going to sit up there and establish some stuff real quick, and we're all a community, and we're all going to benefit directly from what it is that we're creating. It's only within the black community where folks want to sit up there and say that I'm not this and I'm not that, and I'm not, a part of no black community. This is why ain't nothing happening. This is why ain't nothing happening. I've been saying this 99 different times, because I've had countless people directly up here sitting up here saying, "Oh, I'm not a part of the black community. I'm not even black. I'm an individual." And I'm like, yeah. So then, as an individual, when the police sit up there and start whooping on you, when they start pulling the Rodney King and just beating you up, now you want to be black all of a sudden. Now you want to be black American. Now you want to start going on your local news and you want to start talking about the police and police brutality and how it affects the black community. Now, all of a sudden, when reality hits with a nice billy club to your face and breaks your nose in several different places, now all of a sudden reality strikes. That's wild. Like I said, all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, instead of all of this complaining, folks need to get out there and actually start being a solution. All 10 years I've seen black people complain about Umar Johnson and they ain't make no moves yet. Their lives are still the same. They still receiving the exact same money. Their kids are still getting the same poor education in whatever state or city that they're located directly in. And you're just out here waiting in line to get seen by Umar Johnson so that he knows that you exist. Like I said, and then on top of that, you sitting up there screaming about his daughter, somebody that you don't actually even care about. Again, like I said, this fakery out here. If you this woman is trying to make it seem like she's bringing awareness or something, but it's like, if you actually cared about Dr. Umar's daughter, right, and you said that she's drugged out, why don't you sit up there and try to get in contact with her? Why don't you try to, get her some assistance or some help so that she can get clean? Why are you just out there talking about it and not being a solution? And I'm guessing that this has to be a woman screaming and calling directly up out of there. I'm like, if you really care so much as a woman, why don't you go help that woman out? But like I said, you don't really care. You just want to bring it up because you can use it as a way to negatively attack a black man. It's crazy work. It's diabolical in nature. 100% diabolical. 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 Like I said, people need to do better. People need to sit up there and do better. 100%. Like I said, all of these people that's been complaining over the years about Dr. Umar Johnson, again, I got to rehash it like beating a dead horse for the last 10 years. Everybody that's been complaining, how many schools have y'all opened? How many things have you done within your city to help out the black kids there that you know that are homeless or in orphanages, or better yet, that are within your family and that are with family members who you know should not even have had kids at all? What have you specifically done to help out all of those kids? And chances are it's little to nothing. But yet you got all of the energy in the world to show everybody on camera that you care about something, but realistically you don't. You're just doing it so that you can hurry up and get money and get some fame real quick off of somebody else's name by leveraging fake outrage and anger. Because like I said before, she was the only one out there screaming. Everybody else was calm. Everybody else acted like they had some common sense. She's the only one out there screaming. Crazy, dog. It's crazy. You got schools closing all around the black community. What happened to those black folks that was saying, you know, that they care about the kids? What happened to all those people that wanted to, you know, go to Umar's school and basically what was that dude's name? The closer or whatnot or whatever. Like I said, a lot of people did videos. It's like, I went to the school, I did this, I did that. I'm like, if any of these people legitimately actually cared, how about you actually show how it's done? But like I said, none of these people actually cared. This is why none of them actually opened up a school. They don't care nothing about black kids. They don't care nothing about the black community. Again, they're going to leverage the emotions of black people because they know that it's easy to do. They're going to make money directly off of that because it's easy to do. And they're not going to do nothing because black people ain't going to require those people who want to come after Umar Johnson or come after Tariq Nasheed. They're not going to require those people to actually do anything. As long as you allow them to be angry, as long as you allow them to be emotional, and you make that type of content, it's all good. That's it. Like I said, that's what I've been able to see for 10 years. Can't nobody tell me different. Like I said, it's crazy. Crazy, man. Crazy. But let's go to one of the elders that can help people understand what it is.
Oh, we got a black neighborhood. A black neighborhood is where you eat and sleep. A black neighborhood is like a bucket with a hole in it, pouring water and it runs out. Everybody knows you cannot be a competitive group with no communities. But right now, everybody coming to this country got enough sense to say, I'm gonna build Chinatown, Frenchtown, Germantown, Hockeytown. They build everything for their own people. And in that community, to qualify as a community, you must have three things. You must have a wholly independent economy that provides services, goods, and products, and jobs, and business and wealth-producing opportunities for your own people. That's the first thing you must have. The second thing you must have a code of conduct that tells you to buy from your own people first before you go down 2 miles down the road and buy it. And the last thing you must have elected officials that will represent you first and foremost before they represent everybody. Every time a black person runs for office now, first thing he says, I'm for everybody. And you shouldn't be running for office then. You need to go sit down and watch TV at home. Your first responsibility is to take care of those who put you in office. And then that's what you put your hand on the Bible for. And when you get sworn in office, you say this, I hereby swear on the Bible to protect and serve those who voted me into office.
So how many, again, going back to what I said earlier, how many political officials have you heard basically say that they'll do stuff for everybody else, but they ain't doing nothing for black folks? The Obama administration, the Biden administration, both did things for the Jewish community, the LGBT, and they did stuff for immigrants. The thing that's missing directly out of that, especially from the people that helped them both get into office, was the black community. What have Biden and Obama did for The Black American community, nothing. Zero. Nada. I think what the only thing I can list from Obama is what the brothers, my brother's keeper or something like that. I mean, we already technically had things like that in the black community. Again, I'm not sure if that was like legislation or whatever it was, but I do remember that being mentioned. But again, we've already had stuff like that in the black communities. So, but again, like I said, there's nothing there. Everybody else have had laws, even if it was just for a few years. They still had laws. Like what was it, like DACA, the Dreamers, and all. Everybody else had stuff to protect them. Black Americans didn't have nothing, but yet Black Americans voted people directly into office. We were congratulated for getting these people into office, and yet received nothing in return but just thanks, but just a little bit of gratitude. That's it. And I guess that's all it took. So while we got that thanks and that gratitude, which is pretty much invisible, what did everybody else get? They got tangibles. They got things that they can actually touch and see that's in black and white that they can read either in English or in their own language or both. They got things that they can sit up there and actually show their kids and be like, yo, this is what we did. This is what we got for our vote. Black Americans, what can you actually physically show to your kids that you got for your vote? Nothing. Nothing but nice words, and words fade over time versus things that are written down, that are documented. It's crazy how that works. It's diabolical, but you can't tell folks nothing. And again, you got a lot of these folks on social media who are trying to tell Black Americans like, oh, y'all need to sit up there and vote this way and do this and do that and all this other type of stuff. But I'm like, they're not telling you to go for things that are tangible. They're not telling you like, hey, if you're going to vote, make sure your vote means something. Make sure that you're going to get something directly in return. They're just telling you to sit up there and vote. And then they want to use scare tactics directly behind it and all this other type of stuff and rah, 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 and mark my words. This is that. No, at the end of the day, if everybody else, if the Chinaman agents can sit up there and get what it is that he needs from the United States government, if Hispanics can get what it is that they need from the United States government, if Africans, if Arabs, if everybody else can get what it is that they need from the United States government for their vote, Black Americans should be able to get the exact same thing. And then also dealing with Dr. Claude here, everything that he stated was a very simple, laid out plan. And for whatever reason, simple seems to be the hardest language for anybody to comprehend when it deals with being a community, when it deals with coming together, when it deals with having a plan and walking within the actions of that plan and turning that plan from a thought into a reality. It seems to be the hardest thing for a lot of people to actually do. And this is why I said time and time again that the failure is going to happen not by way, in a sense, by the system itself, but the failure is going to happen by way of those who are in and around Black Americans. Because like I said before, if a lot of people don't want to consider themselves a part of a community, then they need to just move directly about. They need to stop being around. They need to go everywhere else. Because you are going to cause an issue and a problem. You are going to, stop progress. Because those same folks feel that everybody else should basically look at the exact same way. And I'm like, yeah, nah, that's the way the Africans look at stuff. Black Americans cannot afford to sit up there and be like, oh, I'm an individual. I'm this. No. We can't afford to do that. You got folks that are in the Caribbeans that decide to do that. And I'm like, no, we can't afford to sit up there and do that. We can't. There's too much history here. There's too many things that are still needed in order for us to decide that, oh, we're not one people. We're just humans. Can't do that. Yeah, that's some diabolical work. Wait, what did you say? You said, how does 12% of the population get voted in office and only do for us? Stop the disinformation. You are not helping. And we did get support. It was not just for us. Wait, what are you talking about? Dear Lord, dear sweet mother of Christ, When I look at the Jewish community, when I look at the Asians, when I look at the LGBT, and when I look at immigrants, all of them combined have had more legislation passed for them than anything dealing with Black Americans. So, within me saying that, where is the disinformation? Where am I lying? That's what I'm just trying to figure out here, because that doesn't even make any type of sense. Like what? I'm highly confused. Let me just highlight this. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out, like, where specifically was the lie in what I stated. Because Black people are still getting jacked up by the police. Black people are still being affected when it deals with either trying to buy or sell their home. Black people are still being affected by, I guess you could say, color codes, right? Dealing with the education. Like, if you live in a certain zip code, this is the education and the schools that you got to go to. And if you opt to do whatnot or whatever, guess what? You're liable to go directly to jail. There's stories where a few Black women have opted. They were like, yo, I don't want my kids to receive a poor education, so I'm going to do what I need to do in order to get them into this other school. And, they ended up either getting fined or being jailed for that. So it's like, I'm just a little bit confused. Just a little bit confused. It's wild work out here. But anyways, like I said before, they couldn't sit up there and break down any of the things that Dr. Claude basically stated. They couldn't sit up there and say that wasn't factual. They couldn't say that was misinformation. Diabolical work. But now, let's continue. Let me make sure to take that one out because we actually finished that one. Let's go. I'm going to save the other one for the last one. Let's go to the next one.
When Fela came back from the States in 69, 70, he came with the Blackism, the idea of the Black Panther, the Black culture,
of course,
which is different to Yoruba culture,
of course,
Igbo culture, Hausa culture. And for a long time, we didn't know that Fela was talking to us. And us youth now, we are kind of fascinated about this kind of rebel of what was going on. But music was really, really the underpin of the whole energy.
Right. So in that small clip, because I know it was short, this is what is stated above the clip. It said singer Fela Kuti created Afrobeat music after he learned about Black American consciousness and their rebellious mind state. He brought that mentality back to African tribes in Nigeria in his lyrics and music, using American jazz, Black American jazz, and funk blended with traditional African music. So it's crazy how things work. Because remember, a lot of folks out here, they want to sit up there and say that Black Americans, like, oh, we didn't create nothing. Oh, all of the music that we create, it came directly from Africa. This is an African that came directly over to the United States, was basically not embedded, but he was around and was able to view and see the things that was happening and transpiring, along with how it is that was enveloped and infected, not infected, but affected the music that, we created. And he took that from the United States and then brought that over there to Africa and then infused that with music and stuff from Africa. But yet people say that we don't make nothing, we don't create nothing, we don't cause waves. Like, y'all are still using our old stuff. Y'all are still using stuff from back in the day. Like, that's how crazy that is. And that also shows how influential Black Americans are, no matter what it is that we do. And like I said before, this is stuff from the past that made their music in the future that we have today. But People don't want to sit up there and give Black Americans credit. That's wild. That's wild. Like I said, you're dealing with something that was not innate within you. You had to go somewhere else to be around it in order to get a subtle taste and an understanding of it. And then once you did get that, you then took that, became an expert over where it is that you're from, because you're pretty much the only one that did it. And you basically were able to create and make this, taking it directly from Black Americans. Well. Color me surprised. Color me surprised. Let's go to the next one.
Y'all know that black ICE agent girl that's been going viral? Like, her picture has been kind of circulating and everybody's been kind of sparking this conversation about black ICE agents and black people shouldn't be ICE agents, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So apparently people found her social media accounts and have been, when I tell y'all, like, she has had so many trolling, bullying comments. And what's crazy is that this girl is a stone cold baddie. Like, stone cold baddie. Like, clears all the haters in her comment section easily. And I'm not even trying to be shallow when I say that, but she's cold. I mean, she's a cold ass chica. But she's also been in the military. So she's been in service to the country for I don't even know how long. She don't look like she's that old, so I'm assuming that she's probably still an active military member, but she also works for ICE. Not really sure for how all of that works. It's just really crazy to me how people will drag and bully a black woman or a black presenting woman, because she might not even be Black American. She might be Afro-Latina. I'm not really sure what this girl's background is. I know that she looks like she could be a model. I know she's been in the military. She works for ICE, but I don't know anything about her. I just feel like if she was ambiguous looking, like if she didn't look like a black woman, if she were anything else, she would not be, her photo wouldn't even be trending right now and being hated on and being trashed and bashed in her comment section the way that it is. But because she's a black woman, or at least appears to be a black woman, then now you see people all in her comment section just completely just thrashing and bashing her. I sent her a DM actually, and I just said, you know, I support you, I support what you're doing, thank you for your service. And she was real sweet about it. She just said thank you and all that kind of stuff. I'm hoping to get her on a live stream. We'll see. But I just wanted to point that out to y'all. Go check out her profile and read through some of those comments. And show her some love, y'all. Like, because there's been a lot of people who's trying to make her feel, trying to guilt trip her about her career choice.
You know, whatever her career choice is, that's her career choice. She was in the military. So she was like, hey, I've already, you know, probably went overseas. Dealing with this is nothing. So she opted to go for it, and maybe potentially because she was in the military, she might be able to get a little bit more money. You know, depending on what it is that she did in the military and whatnot or whatever. Like I said, she went for the easiest route, something that she was already used to. And that's pretty much nothing for her. It's crazy how people want to come directly at her, because, you know, the craziest part is you don't see these same folks wanting to come after other Hispanics or Africans or Caribbeans who decide to become ICE agents. You don't really see them doing that. And then the other crazy part is, I got to point this out too, is that you got the people who are part whites, who are a part of the Democratic Party, liberals, who were coming at black ICE agents on tape, and they were calling them all types of N-words and slurs. And I'm like, this is how I know that white people are racist. Because I'm like, you're supposed to be a part of the Democratic Party. The Democrats are supposed to be the ones that love everybody, that care. But then you decide to film yourself at this moment calling a black man a racial slur because you disagree with him being an ICE agent? What? How does that even make sense? That doesn't even make any type of, like I said, they use any excuse just to be racist. Any excuse just to be racist. It doesn't make any type of sense. It makes no type of sense. Like I said before, it lets you know. It lets you know. But like I said before, you got racism all over the place. It don't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. Both are part of the exact same government. It don't make no difference. It really don't. It's crazy work. Diabolical in nature. Mm, mm, mm. Crazy work. Now, let's go to the coup de grace. This is a video that I love so much because I already have some folks directly out here already trying to, oh, you're black, you're racist, and you're using this hate bait and all this other type of stuff. Well, you're going to sit up there and hate this video. Shout out to this white woman for laying down the truth real quick.
Talk about black fathers is 100% projection, and here's why. A lot of white men like to pretend they're so superior to other races and other men, but in reality, a lot of white dads are either drug addicts or alcoholics, physically present but emotionally absent, or such intense workaholics they don't even know their children's birthdays. So really what I see this as a fundamental problem with the way that men are socialized to treat women and children as extensions of themselves, not necessarily as important. And so while the stereotype is that black men will have children and not stick around, the white men who do stick around, because trust me, there are plenty of absentee white fathers, they aren't necessarily caring for their kids' emotional or physical needs. And a physically present dad but emotionally absent one is very, very traumatic for a lot of kids. I mean, just look at the children of a lot of rich parents. They're absolute tyrants, and they themselves are drug addicts because they know in their hearts that their parents do not give a shit about them, especially their dads. And so if you want to talk about daddy issues, then we need to talk about all races that are neglecting their kids, because it's absolutely not just the stereotype of black men, it's for white men.
Woo, that's crazy. She laid down fire, hot flames, diabolical. She came directly after her own men, because for far too long there's been this crazy stereotype where people want to sit up and say, oh yeah, well, white men are always fathers, they're always present. You can be present and not there at the same time. You can be present and not there at the same time. And this goes right along with what I stated before in another video, where I brought to you guys the information of the CDC, where they stated that black men are fathers. And the craziest part is, even with the information being directly out there, you still have a lot of folks that want to still say otherwise. And the awesome, craziest thing about this video is that she, as a white woman, would speak out against her man, highlighting these things, right? These are the men that they raised, that they are around, that they live with and date and all of this stuff. And she's speaking these truths, right? But then you'll have other women directly out here, you know, and they'll decide to say the opposite. They'll decide to say that, you know, white men are the greatest fathers. They're always attentive, that they're always emotionally there and balanced and fair and protective and da 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 and all this. And I'm like, so which one is it? Who am I to believe? Am I going to believe this white woman when she's speaking about the men of which that she has been around pretty much since her existence? Or am I going to believe another group of women who really don't have that experience with and or raising or being raised by those men, speaking positively 100% about them? I'm going to sit up there and go with this white woman here. I'm going to listen to the source on this one. Because like I said, there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation directly out there, and how it is that people want to present and talk about certain things. And like I said, it's crazy to me to know that you got other women out here that will go to bat for another group of men who are not of them, and that especially that they don't even raise and who have never even raised them. And you want to speak highly about them as if you know them 100%. And then you want to try to discredit a white woman. Wild. I ain't never seen people fight so hard in my life. It is crazy. It is wild out here. Wild. Like I said. And I want to note, because I know how some people get, they were like, oh, you're just saying this because, well, a white woman is defending black men. No, I'm not sitting up here saying that. She's honestly speaking about the men of her community. Like I said, I respect honesty. I don't need another group of women to basically speak up for black men. I'm a black man myself. I can speak up for black men, and I've done that countless times on my platform, you know, regardless of the negative comments I've gotten defending black men, which again makes no sense, mind blowing by itself, but you know, it'd be like that. You know, it is crazy. Crazy work. Let me see. Somebody said it's not misinformation, it's statistics. I don't even know what you're talking about. And I'm looking through my comment section, and I know you just got here talking about life isn't fair. You know, this isn't Malcolm in the Middle. Tippy was like the original deadbeat is white dudes. That's bars. That's straight bars. Like I said, shout out to Hank Pym, aka Ant-Man. That was one of the first dudes that I seen in comic books slap his wife. You know, it's crazy work out here. Technically, in comic books, you know, there's a lot of white dudes that have been slapping up women. And this is before Grand Theft Auto. You know, you got to get Sarah straight real quick. You know, Sarah starts losing her mind in the comic books. You got to, you know, give that quick backhand. Bow, calm down, Sarah. Yeah, it's crazy. Calm down, Sarah. Go get me a beer. Go iron my tie. Where are my slacks? Get them out the washer. Crazy work. Diabolical. Don't you burn the toast again. Wow. I'm pretty sure some people would get offended. Be like, yo, Seji, DV is not funny. It's funny in this case. I'm sorry, man. I'm not sorry. Like I said, I don't know what to tell you. It'd be like that. You know, it 100% be like that. You know, 100%. 100%. Heavy said Sean Connery said it best. Yeah, he was real about that too. He was like, yeah, I'll slap her up. Shout out to Sean Connery. Hell, I mean, I was like, I don't care. He ain't about to sit up there and you're not about to cancel me. It's like, yeah, we're gonna shake him up real quick. What was that line that he used to always say during 007? I like it shaking, not stir. Yeah, that's the way he likes his woman too. Yo, it's crazy. Yo, it is crazy. Man. Crazy work. Diabolical. But it be like that though. And the funniest thing is, yo, I do have some videos directly up here where a dude, not even like a podcast or whatever, but you know, a tall dude was basically talking to women in Miami. He was like, yo, you know, dress more modestly, right? And the craziest part is he didn't say nothing disrespectful. He said dress more modestly because obviously, you know, the women, they were like dressed barely anything there and all the other type of stuff. Woman got so deranged and enraged that she started trying to physically hit this dude. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, I don't care what any of these dudes out here got to sit up there and say. If a woman tries to physically assault a dude and he didn't do nothing to her, yo, she get knocked to the ground. I don't care how that sounds. I need folks out here to start raising these women better. Women, I need women to start raising women better. Start raising your daughters better. Get them emotionally balanced. Stop putting unstable creatures directly out here who don't know how to conduct themselves directly out here in public, and they think that it's fine and dandy because they don't like what somebody said. I'm about to just haul off and start swinging on the dude. That's the stupidest thing that you can do. Because again, to the women out here, you got dudes out here that are waiting for a woman to sit up there and think that she can sit up there and stand up to a man. He's going to fold her up. He's going to Goldberg spear her. He might even Chris Benoit you real quick. You about to be resting with the family. You about to be down and out, and it ain't gonna be no tap out. Like I said, like women, y'all got to start raising your daughters better. That's the best way I can sit up and put it. You got to start raising your daughters better. You can't sit up there and try to throw this directly on men. You can't throw this on fathers or those who ain't there. You got to raise your daughters better, because if your daughter is acting like this, that means that you act like this. And obviously then your mother or your grandmother didn't raise you right. Yeah, y'all got to get this lined up real quick, because if you don't, There's going to be men out there to get you lined up real quick. And that line is going to be very quick and short and full of darkness. Like I said, all I'm doing is I'm giving a very simple warning. Some people will sit up there and say, Sergio, you're condoning DV. No, I'm not. I didn't say, notice I didn't say that the men hit them first. I said that the women are stepping up to hit the man first. Every human being on this planet has the right to defend themselves. So if you don't want a human being to use that right, then that means that you need to stay emotionally sound and don't go out of your way to get into somebody's 2 feet or 6 feet worth of space and decide to ball up your fist or have an open hand and decide to swing it directly at a person. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Vincent, yo, Vince, what's up? This man said the Zangief spinning pile driver. That's crazy. Do this for Mother Russia. Yeah, that man J-Lock said you about to get the king moves from Tekken. That's wild. That's crazy. LBC said they don't realize one punch from a man can take them out. Men's bone density is 10 times more than a woman's bone density. That guy, what is up? You said some mothers be competitive with their daughters in general. I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. Tippy said delusional. Yeah. Yo, Shauna, what is up? What is up? What is up? Said amen. Said say it again. Tippy said it's not the fault of black women only. It's the men too. Wait, which part are you talking about, Tippy? I'm a little bit confused. J-Lock said tiger uppercut. This man is bringing up Sagat. Tippy said, oh, he got the boot. Wait, who got the boot? Heavy Duty said, LOL, tiger uppercut action. Wait, let her be her said, I'm just coming in. What we talking about? Dang, how can I go directly through the whole live stream? Pretty much it was a different assortment of videos. Some were in alignment with other videos, such as one topic had to do with what was going on in Africa and how an American woman decided that melanated American woman decided that she wants to go over to Zambia. And Zambia, from my research that I was able to do during a live stream, found that Zambia had slave trade. So it was a part of a slave trade, right, to the Arabs and to the Swahili, I guess, tribes or peoples directly out there. And even such as late of 2023, they had about 95,000 people that were still in a modern day type of slavery. And this is where this woman here decided to take her and her kids. So she basically left from America, moved over to Africa for whatever reason. She, quote unquote, as she stated, overstayed her visa. And this is what basically got her directly into trouble. And I listed a variety of things, how it is problematic. Again, I stated that it should not have happened. But again, I have to put her squarely at fault, because why would you overstay your visa? That's all I'm saying. Why would you overstay your visa? You're a grown adult. You're supposed to have things marked down and on a calendar. You're a grown woman. You're supposed to be keeping track of every single thing. Nobody else is in control of the situation. Nobody else is in a leadership position of this situation. She planned it. She had the money. She had the itinerary. She had the dates and everything completely down. How is it that you overstayed your visa to the point that now you're in a situation where your kids got taken away from you by the Zambian government? And now they're in an orphanage, probably maybe not even actually there, because no telling the last time that she actually seen or actually spoke to him. And then, there were other videos, going directly down with that as well too. Renam, what is up? What's up? What's up? Oh yeah. Also, much love to Ree. I'm just going to shorten it. Much love to Ree. I did see that you said earlier that this is your first live stream that you were able to show up to. Much love, respect, and appreciation. I'm glad I went live today and you were able to pull up to the live stream. Much love, respect, and appreciation. And no, we did not forget about the Grape Fest that was going on in Nigeria. I made sure I did about like 3 to 4 videos, and I think I might have did a live stream directly off of that. Oh, trust me, that's going to be in memory for a very long time. At any moment in time that an African decides that they want to pull up to the scene, I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to bring that up. like I said, there's a lot of things that I can bring up that they do to women and young girls directly over there. Like I said, a lot of Africans they don't need to be speaking on anything Black American, like mutilation and everything that goes on over there when it deals with African women and these young girls. They need not to sit up there and speak on anything Black American. Like I said, it's wild work. Wild. Like I said, they still got slavery. But let me just make this difference very clear, because a lot of people like to say that we are African. Black Americans don't have slavery going on in the United States. Let me repeat that one more time. Black Americans don't have and are not orchestrating slavery over here in these United States. Africans at this current time, both past, present, and still, which is going to happen in the future, are still doing slavery. But yet we're the same people. That's wild. I can't look to anybody in my family talking about, oh yeah, my great grandfather, like, yeah, he used to sit up there and like own my grandmother's side. Nah, but you got some Africans over there that can do that. That's wild. We are not the same. We are not the same. We are not the same. Tippy says, speaking of that festival, I didn't hear any Pan-Africans talk about it. Bars. Because they're not going to talk about it. You're not going to hear a word at all. They'll never address that. It's like hearing Black Republicans, Black conservative Republicans actually reporting negative stuff about Republicans. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. What they'll do is they will show a little bit of the video and highlight it, and then they'll move directly over, oh, the blacks or the Democrats or the Democrat blacks. That's what they'll do. So within that, they can sit up there and say, oh, see, I did touch upon it. I did show it on the platform. I did technically talk about it, but realistically, this is what they talk about, right? That's what they like to do. But like I said, that little grift, whatever it is that those Black folks are sitting up there doing on social media, trying to, get the attention of white people and say that I'm better. You can put me in the house anytime. It's all cool. Like I said, that's going to run its wave, and then people are going to be stuck. Like I said, if people don't pay attention, Candace Owens is basically showing people how these things are taking place and happening. For about, 10, 15 years, Candace Owens had a great run with Republicans, and then they threw her directly to the wayside. But I will say this, though. When you look at the videos of Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk, they seem very, very happy. And we already know that Candace Owens, she likes white guys. So, all I'm saying is they both seemed very happy being amongst each other in those videos. That's all I'm saying. Like the type of smiles that Candace Owens was sitting up there giving while she was in proximity to Charlie Kirk, I don't think I've really seen things such as that up until the point that she was like being happy being pregnant. Like she was like those smiles, like those, like every guy knows what those smiles are. Like those are like those almost like once in a lifetime type of thing where it's like that person really has like feelings for that person. It's almost like a light is beaming off of that person. And it's specific to women. But yeah, But yeah, and now Candace Owens is somewhere as a rogue planet out there trying to catch an orbit somewhere. And she's just putting out all types of information now. She was like, oh, well, you guys have forsaken me, no problem. Now it's time to sit up there and go DEFCON 3. She is just all over the place doing videos. And I'm like, well, this is what happens when people get dropped. It can go, one way or it can go another way. Be like that. Gail was like, Seji's tether hairline will always be suspect. Me and my friend normally sit up there and say, I'm the prince of all hairlines. Shout out to Vegeta. I'm the prince of all hairlines. Kakarot, you are a clown, Kakarot. So I was like, yeah. It be like that. Somebody said MLK Jr., I guess. Oh, you're talking about the other comment directly up there. Tibby said, white folks want to say to wait, to black Americans, Africans still run slavery as a dig to black Americans, but they want to separate themselves from the Jewish community folks as if they're not the same. Black Perseus said, "Do you?" I'm not even sure what. Yeah, I'm not even sure what that even is. I'm trying to read it. I'm not even sure. Mo said, "Is Sechi really from Detroit?" That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. What was it? No freedoms. Mo freedom says Sechi out here. Oh yes. Black person said it was just what was it, Ghana, but people that understand what is going on and have spoken about the situation. Somebody said that this is a racist channel. I guess. Whatever you believe, sir. Whatever you believe. I'm not sure which part is racist. If I talk about the black community, racist. If I talk about Africans or those from the islands, I'm racist, xenophobic. If I talk about white folks, racist, Arabs, racist, Asians, racist, Hispanic, racist. So I'm like, at which part am I not racist? That's all I'm just trying to figure out. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like I said, it don't matter what time of the year it is. Somebody's always going to pop up and basically try to say like, this is a racist channel. I talk about everybody equally. Well, at least so that I think. Maybe it might be a little bit uneven. It'd be like that. Just like most roads in the United States, they're not all straight. They're not all even out. A lot of them got potholes. Some of them never fixed. And infrastructure, the government. Or are we going to sit up there and say it's the fault of the people? Which one? Just saying. Just saying. Renum said, why is Drewski catch an issue about the Erica short? The joke that he made. I don't know. Let me see something real quick. Yeah. So let me just let me see if I can highlight this better. Let me just go to let me just go to people real quick. Right. So this is my problem with the whole story with the whole Drewski thing. Drewski is a comedian. But I had to look this up real quick, right? So let me just take that dude directly down. It says that Erica Kirk says that she forgives her husband's killer minutes before Trump says that he differs from Charlie in a way. Said, I hate my opponents, right? But the main part of that says that Erica Kirk supposedly, allegedly forgave the killer of her husband. So I'm like, if you could forgive the killer of your husband, shouldn't you easily be able to overlook what it is that a comedian is doing? Like, which one is worse? That's all I'm trying to figure out. So we got the severity of the situation where you got somebody who took the life of your husband, right? He took your husband away from you. He took your husband away from being a father to, your one or two kids directly out there. He took your husband away from both of your families. He took your husband away from his believers, the people that look directly up to him, right? The people that are slowly but surely following his footsteps at this moment in time. That person took him away from all of those folks, but you stated allegedly, that you forgave him for that very severe detrimental situation. But when it deals with Drewski, who is a comedian who just goes out and makes jokes, he does skits. Now this is where the line has to be drawn. Now I guess this is the point in time. I guess Drewski must have really took somebody's life. I guess because, like I said, to me that's crazy. That's crazy. But it's very interesting. I've heard a variety of comedians who are white make jokes dealing with Charlie Kirk, and I don't think I heard of Erica Kirk or the estate or whatever bringing up a lawsuit or saying anything. But magically, when it deals with Drewski, for whatever reason, I can't specifically put my finger on it, but for whatever reason, when it deals with Drewski, this is now the line has been crossed. It's a line that you're not supposed to cross. And on top of that, a lot of white folks are mad online. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. That's wild. Diabolical work. I'm just trying to figure out how that works. Somebody said that Seji is a devotee of Candace Owens. What are we even talking about? It's like, people just be making anything up now. People just come up with anything. So let's see. A strong believer in a particular religion or god, a person who is very interested in enthusiastic about someone or something. Actually, not at all, but like I said, whatever you guys tend to believe, which helps you sleep at night. You know. Husband, LBC said, yeah, that's backwards. Yeah. Yep. Tippy said that NASCAR skit he did was hilarious. Yeah, it was. And some of those people, I think they actually thought he was white too, which is crazy. I'm like, y'all can't tell the difference. Let me see. Cassandra, no, you know what the craziest part is? I know that name. Dear Lord. Professor X's sister. The psionic parasitic twin. Yes, 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 yes. That's what was throwing me off because I was like, wait, Cassandra Nova. I'm like, wait a minute, why do I recognize that name? It was like Marvel. shout out to Cassandra Nova down there. You have to, in order for you to have that name, you got to be a Marvel fan. It would be a very weird. It would be very odd for you to have that name and not be a Marvel fan. LBC said we are living in backwards times. That we are. Tippy said people be saying anything. Facts. Tippy also said that I think the NASCAR skit was better than the noon. Yeah, it'd be like that. It'd be like that. 100%. Last but not least, I'll switch the topic because again, I am a gamer. So, what was it? Jay said, what's funny? The conservatives on the right thought that it was funny because they don't like her and it goes against the beliefs of what she stood for because she be bringing Nicki Minaj up there. Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, I mean, but Nicki Minaj is not Black American, so you can't be too surprised. And she has her own reasons for going directly up there. Like I said, she might be trying to seek asylum or something like that. Like I said, I don't know. But it'd be like that. But yeah, so last but not least, for any of my gamers directly up out there, I want to know how y'all feel about these prices. These prices are looking ridiculous. These prices are looking ridiculous. The PS Pro is 199. I'm sorry, it's not 199. It's $899, right? Let me just check something real quick, right? How much is a PSN year membership? So if you do, wait, let me see if I can put this all together, right? Let me just try to get this into one neat looking thing for us to view. And then again, I do understand and know that a lot of people here who may observe the channel are not gamers. I understand it, but it also goes into the fact of prices with everything else as well too. Because again, you got groceries and everything else, so you may not be able to specifically relate to the gaming side of things, which I understand. But you also have other things as well that are being affected. Um, by way of stuff in the United States. So in a sense, you will technically understand it without being deep in there, right? Um, let me see if I can get this picture up there. This will be a little bit better so that we can all follow. Right. Let me just take that down. There we go. So even without, let me get out my handy dandy calculator, right? So the price for, well, you can't see because, well, maybe you guys are able to see it. Let me see. I might have to take down the banner real quick. Yeah, there we go. All right, so with the banner down, right, you see the the PlayStation 5 Pro is $899, right? I'm not even going to do the plus tax because it's whatever at this point. That's just going to make it worse. So let me get my handy dandy calculator. Let's do the $899.99, and then we're going to add in a 1 year. I'm the type of person where I'm like, I'd rather do like a 1 year, subscription. So the premium, which is the highest tier, right? Because you gotta go for the highest tier, the creme de la creme, however it's pronounced, whatever. The cream of the crop. So we're gonna do plus the $159.99 a year, and automatically, if you get a PS5 Pro plus you get premium, that's $1,059.98. That's not adding in the extra controller. That's not adding in any type of, I was going to say meta glasses. That's not adding in the VR, which is another $500+. That's not adding in any games either. And on top of that, that's not adding in like Crunchyroll or Netflix or Hulu or any other subscriptions that you have. Like, so very easily without even buying games, right? Without buying a physical or a digital game, you're already with the system plus the premium. You're already at $1,000, over $1,000. That's ridiculous. And like I said in the last live stream, what's crazy about this is that this $1,000 that people are going to, in a sense, pay. This is what the original price for the PlayStation 3 was. But Sony was like, hey, we're going to actually just like eat the cost directly on this. I think if they could go back, they wouldn't have ate so much of that cost like they did during that time, to the point where they had to bring out the PS2 and the PSP back out in order to stay afloat. But this was close to the original price of the PlayStation 3. And now I remember I had a magazine or a book directly on it. I wish I still had it to this day, where I could actually show you the proof of what it was during that time. But like I said, this is ridiculous. 1,000%. This is ridiculous. D Money said I already had a PS5, but see, me and you both, we got the PS5. We don't got no Pro though. So for me, I wouldn't even have went out and got a Pro. I can tell you that right now. I'll just stay with the PS5, and I might even skip out on the 6. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen directly with that. That's just up in the air. If looking at this price right now, and Sony is like, well, we got to up the price right now because of everything going on with AI and the RAM. I'm like, that is BS. That is that is straight. Man, this is the utmost garbage. I would need to see some concrete numbers on why it is that they needed to raise it this high. Like, people tried to clown Xbox when Xbox earlier this year or last year raised the price of Game Pass. I think it went from like, what was it, 20? No, I think it was like 20 or 25, and then it went to like 30. Everybody lost their minds. Even people that don't even have Game Pass, like people who only have PlayStation, only been on PlayStation, were talking about it, and that they were trying to clown everybody who has an Xbox. Now look at where it is that we are. People was clowning and laughing at Xbox because the subscription went up, and now the price of a whole system that went up. I ain't never pay anywhere that close at all. Now I will sort of say if it was a bundle, I paid about like 8 something, 7, 8, but that was a bundle and that was because it was GameStop, right? But again, a naked system by itself, and I think is that the digital? Because I'm trying to figure. I'm not even sure if the PS5 Pro is all digital. Because I know the PS5 that I got, it is digital. It has no disc tray directly to it. I have to buy that separate if I wanted to. Right, and he says Sony cited continued pressures in the global economic landscape. I want people to understand that this is the same thing that other companies used during the pandemic. When a pandemic was happening, they were like, "Oh, the reason why the game is so delayed, everybody was delaying games that they knew were unfinished." They were like, "Oh, it's the pandemic." Word every time. And then even after late 2023 to 2024, people are like, "Oh yeah, the pandemic." Dog, stop using that. You can't. Now we're in 2026. They can't use it now. Now they'll be like, "Oh well, it's the global crisis." it's the global crisis. Yo, this is wild. This is wild. I feel sorry for any parents out there that got kids because your kids ain't getting that. Vince said that $899, that's a 5070 or a 5080 Ti. Woo! That's crazy. LBC said, to be honest, I barely buy anything for myself. Woo! Man. Tippy said, I think they just want certain people in certain high classes to buy from them. This is stupid. Greedy leeches. Yo, what is up, Bushido? Bushido said that I was waiting for the prices to come down to get a PS5. Well, it looks like the joke is on me. I mean, you could always probably try to find one that's like refurbished. I would just recommend it. You can just go for a refurbished one. I would just say that. Because if the standard disc, that's what, like $649, and then what's the digital version? Digital edition PS5 is $599. Yeah, I would say go for a refurbished PS5 if you can happen to get. I'm not even sure what that would even look like right now, if you can even find those refurbished, because I'm pretty sure before, when people caught wind of this, I'm pretty sure some people went out there that got the money. They bought up a whole bunch of like PS5s, and just so that they can sell them. They could probably sell them a little bit under. Vincent said, yeah, that's 5080 territory. LBC said, I heard the Steam box is coming out and it will be much cheaper. Yeah, given what Sony is doing, right? Yeah, it's going to be cheaper because the Steam box ain't going to have a membership. It's like, we got this box. It's a one-time payment, and then you just put your information in there for your Steam profile. Bow, you got all your Steam games. Start downloading and start playing. That's it. that's literally it. You got a one-time payment for the system, and that is it. You don't got to pay for nothing else other than you buying games. And Steam always has sales. Now, unlike Xbox and PlayStation, Steam always has sales. You got the Humble Bundle and spring sales, winter sales, summer sales, a sale just to have a sale. Like I said, Steam is always going to make money because they're willing to do what other companies are not willing to do. Now, if Microsoft decides to take a note out of Steam and they start going through and start doing some actual deals and some sales, the revenue that they'll generate per year is going to be ridiculous. Like, people are going to be buying games that they never even thought that they would actually play or never even gave a shot to. So it will be in their best interest for Microsoft to do that. Like I said, it'll be better for the whole of the ecosystem. LBC said you'll be able to play every game, but it will be digital. I mean, yeah. I mean, everything has a caveat to it. Renam said no lies told. Tippy said they basically said F the economy, that poor people problems, shut up and buy. Yeah, that's true. That's true. LBC said it's going to be affordable. Third Eye said even if I return my PS5 to Best Buy for the full refund to upgrade to the PS5 Pro, I will still be paying 600 to 700 in difference in price. Woo! That's crazy. Cassandra Nova said, "Hey Seji, thanks for the Marvel info that I didn't know. My son added Nova to my first name as a stage name over 10 years to signify a new beginning in the theater world." Oh, that's crazy. I guess maybe your son may be a Marvel fan. Well, that's dope though. That's pretty dope. That's that's pretty dope. Shout out to you and yours out there in the theater world. Back when I was in high school, you know, I did a little bit myself. I did a little bit of something, but again, that's like middle school, high school. It ain't nothing big. It ain't, no large type of stage and nothing like that. But like I said, I got a appreciation, for people out there getting on stage every single day. You gotta, memorize, you gotta have your placement together, you gotta have your timing and everything like that. Or even in, certain instances, you got some people do some improv, with what it is that they may say on stage to change it up quite a bit. So, much love and respect. Much love, respect. Timmy said the PS3 was $4.99 when it came out. D Money said the Epstein has the Xbox. That's crazy. That is wild. The Microsoft slander in here is wild. Heard I said that includes the insurance price for the I forgot about that. I forgot that people do pay for insurance. I've never paid for insurance on none of my consoles, so if anything happens, it just happens. I'm like, I don't got time. That also reminded me too. I gotta put together that video so I can show those who may have a Series X how to open it up and basically clean out the dust and and stuff like that. I wish I would have actually filmed it when I did it the first time. It would have made more sense so that people can see how dusty it can actually get on the inside. But it'd be like that. So whatever. Tippy said, "Darn." Let me see. Yeah, I'm not even sure what he's talking about. Vincent said, "PC gaming for the win. Valve is winning." Mo said at D Money, Sony did business with. Oh, that's crazy. LBC said it's honestly really smart on Microsoft's end. Yeah, it would be. D Money said Harvey didn't have an island though. That's wild. What was like, right? Yeah, the dirty couch. That is crazy. Tippy said they better not discontinue the PS4 like they did with the. Oh no, they're going to do that, Tippy. Best believe what Sony models them. If you pay attention to Sony real close, they model themselves pretty much after Apple. Apple has done over time. They've been caught releasing firmware and different updates that will crash your system, that will literally end your system and force you. It will slow down and everything, and it'll force you to basically buy a new one. Best believe that Sony has something in the works, or they're already doing, in order to get people off of the PS4 onto the PS5, or better yet, to the PS6. And they're going to discontinue that. I promise you. They're not going to see the money directly in it. They're going to just cut the losses and be like, all right, well, we got a lot of people still on the PS4, but it's like it's been 10, whatever, such and such years, since it came out. Y'all should have been basically on the 5. So it'd be like that. So a lot of people just going to be left in the dark. Like I said, Sony is going to, because they still look at themselves as like being in competition with Microsoft. And I told people for some years about, even during the pandemic, Microsoft said that they don't look at Nintendo and Sony as competition. They're looking at Amazon and Google. Like I said, people forgot it's Microsoft. Still, it can, Xbox is there, but it's still Microsoft. And when it deals with the games, Microsoft is like, oh, we see that Amazon and Google, they're doing like their own thing in games. No problem. We're going to sit up there and come directly at you. Like, yo, big bank versus big bank. That's what we're going to sit up there and do. And that's what it was. And no lies are being told. Like I said, Sony can't decide that they want to look up yonder above the clouds and be like, okay, our new challenge is fighting Google and fighting Amazon. They don't got the money. Sony does not have the money to be in that battle. So this is realistically the only thing that Sony, in a sense, has left. So this is why they're pulling back, and they're like, okay, well, since Microsoft is coming out with Project Helix, and they're going to have like this sort of console hybrid that's going to have Epic Store, Steam, and GOG and everything else directly up on there, we're going to pull our games directly up off of Steam because we don't want those games on a Microsoft console. Crazy work. Diabolical in nature. They're so petty to the point that they're like, we see what y'all doing. Y'all not going to be able to play our games like that on your systems unless we're getting paid for it or whatever it is. Like I said, that's some weirdo type of behavior. And that's why I be having problems with a lot of stuff dealing with Sony. Because I'm like, I would love for, Microsoft and PlayStation have like this versus, type of thing, but Sony don't like to play. They're like, nah, we good. We're gonna go back to our JRPGs and our single players, and we're gonna be in our nice own little ecosystem and just keep everybody there that we got. That's okay. We don't need friends. Yo, that is wild. That is crazy. Mo said, how do you clean out roach eggs from your gaming system? As well, I don't know anything about that. The only time that let me tell you, Mo, the only time that I've seen stuff like that from white dudes that be cleaning video games, for content, I've seen that for PlayStation 3s and 4s. I'm sorry, PlayStation 5s and 4s. And I'm like, how do you do that? I'm like, how do you get roaches directly in your system? That is wild. That is crazy. And the dude opened up the system and stuff was still moving in there. He was like, yeah, not doing it. He was like, he hurried up and he triple ultra taped. He octo taped that system right back and shipped it with a nice sign. I'm like, I would have fully embarrassed that person. I'm like, how dare you sit up there and give me an infested PlayStation? How dirty can you be? Like, man, I'd be clowning. I would be clowning the mess out of that person. I don't care how unprofessional people would think that is. It is highly inconsiderate of you to send a bug infested system directly to somebody's place of work and think that they're obligated or supposed to fix the problem. You know what the problem is? Clean your house. That's what it is. Stop living in filth. Stop living in dirt. That's that's wild. Straight wild. Vincent said, also, I heard Sony isn't going to put their games on Steam, which I really don't care. Yeah, I don't care either. It's like it's whatever it is. Steam got hundreds of thousands, dare I say millions of games. Though some PlayStation games don't even matter when it deals with Steam. Like, it's not even a part of a percentage at all. It's not even really pulling money in from Steam. It's not like Sony putting their games on there is bringing in $1 billion to Steam. It's not. So it's like, it don't even matter. So it's like, all right, keep your games. You can keep the little games that you got. That's cool. All right, everybody else will be sitting up there playing, and you'll just be off in the corner somewhere. Like, like I said, it's wild. Shorty says Sony been out for years. He said Sony been out for years. Sony used to be car radios and house stereos and TVs and DVDs. Also, don't forget about the computers. Sony did have laptops. Sony had laptops, and they also did have a few cell phones, here and there and whatnot, and along with the MP3 players as well too. Like when Sony was doing tech like that, I'm like, yo, Sony got some cold stuff. I'm like, yo, y'all looking dope. Y'all looking dope. And then, they started going into game systems, and I'm like, okay, all right. Like I said, I had the PlayStation. I had the PlayStation 2. I missed out on the PS3 because, money cost too much. But then I learned how it is that Sony literally within the first year of the PlayStation 3 coming out, in PlayStation Magazine, they were like, yeah, we're already working on the PS4. Huh? And I'm like, no PlayStation fans had a problem with that. None of y'all had a problem with technically their most expensive system being directly out, coming out, having y'all pay about like $700 for that bad boy. And then they're like, yeah, we're already working on the PS4. Brother, the PS3 didn't even leave yet. It just left the womb. How dare you sit up there and talk about you got another one to wait? What? How inconsiderate could you? At that point right there, I realized that Sony did not care about people's money, especially when it dealt with the PlayStation fan base. They did not care. They're like, yeah, we're about to come out with this, and y'all still gonna buy it, and people did. I didn't buy the PS3. I was not able to get my hands on the PS4, but also shout out to Officer Haku a little bit later on. Ended up getting the Pro, directly about there. But technically, I skipped the 3 and the 4, technically, and then I went for the 5. Like I said, it's crazy. It is diabolical. Shorty McGriff said, okay, yeah. Third Eye said, I think I see the video. I think. D Money said, I still have my PS3. PS3, I put it to you like this though. PS3 is legendary in a sense of what people were able to do homebrew wise, and the stuff that you can put directly on there. Now, again, the problem that I have directly with Sony is the fact that Sony was like, oh, you pay for our system, that's great, but now you're trying to use the system in which that we didn't want you to use it, and then you're unlocking stuff that we didn't want you to unlock. That's a no-no. So we're going to release an update to stop that and or brick your console. And I'm like, so Sony users didn't have a problem with that? I'm like, they were literally attacking and trying to stop you from being able to customize your own system because they didn't like what it was that you were doing. And I'm like, brother, this is why when I look at these prices when it deals with the PS5 Pro, this is why I don't got nothing to say no more. Because I'm like, all the way back during the PS3, Sony was basically showing people the type of time that they were on. And then, the craziest part about this is back during the Xbox One days, right? Folks were clowning Microsoft. I mean, and rightfully so during that time, but people were clowning Microsoft because of the whole DRM thing, which basically meant that you were going to have like this always on feature in order to play your games, in order to get access to your library. It was going to be these online checks that would basically happen because they were going to implement something where you're going to be able to share your library with friends, right? So if your friends were a part of however the profile is, let's say like Steam, right? You add somebody to a family plan. You got like a list of like 5 or maybe 10 people, and you add them directly to this family plan. Those people will be able to have full access to your library, right? I'm not sure if they would make it time limited or how it worked, but they would have access to your library. So basically, if you're the type of person like me, where you're going to pay full price directly for a game, and maybe your friends are hesitant and they're like, I'm not sure if I want to pay for this game, they could go to your library, basically play that game for free without charge, as long as they are part of your family plan. So even with that being listed there, people are like, oh my God, they're always they're going to do these checks. And what if I'm out there in the woods underneath a rock in a cave like Tony Stark trying to play off of some dollar store Wi-Fi hooked up to a UFO satellite on the side of Mars, blinking off of a radar on the moon back to my Xbox? How am I going to sit up there and do these checks and download whatever it is that they need to sit up there and download and da. People are making up all of these ridiculous things to say that they disagree with the online checks. But people forget, because I remember before Xbox decided that they were going to announce this directly to the world, if people go back and look, Sony also had the same thing that they were going to implement directly on their PlayStation device. They were going to have those online checks. They were going to have the library thing and everything that came directly with it. But Sony was like, hey, we're going to sit up and let Microsoft go first, and we're going to test the waters and see basically what happens. And then they let Microsoft go first, and they were like, oh, nope, we're going to scrap this. We're going to get rid of this right now. And we're going to, just let this be what it is. It's crazy how that works. Just imagine if you didn't have Microsoft out here. Sony would have still did it, and people would have been like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Nobody would have complained because it's Sony doing it. But the moment in time that you got an American company doing it, people are like, oh no, look at the Americans. Look at what they're doing. But I'm like, Sony was literally doing the exact same thing, but they just didn't go through with it because they didn't have the balls to go first, and they didn't have the balls to go after Microsoft after it already bricked and failed when they initially decided to speak on it. Crazy work. It's diabolical. like I said, this is why I sat up there and said that I'm fine with some of the stuff that Microsoft is doing, because you're going to take a hit and a loss for going out there and trying. Sony wants to sit up there and play it safe, and they want to hide behind everybody else. It's like, we'll let everybody else go first, and then we'll test the waters. If it works with them, then we'll do it, but we're going to tweak it just a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I don't got no time for that. I don't got no time for that. That's crazy to me. Vincent said, plus Sony hasn't been all that creative lately. I'm playing Phantom Brigade and having a ball. I highly recommend it if you are into real-time strategy games or RTS. I haven't played RTS in a minute. It's been a very, very long time. I've looked at a few. I have looked at a few. And I may get back into those. But it's probably going to take me some time. Like I said, headspace wise, you gotta be, directly there. It's just like playing story games. If you haven't played story games in a minute, you have to get yourself directly in there to be invested, so that you'll be active in that instead of like falling asleep. Vincent said, and it's an indie game. Okay, I got you. Third said, I remember watching the news when Sony announced the PS5 when the PS3 was coming into its prime. Oh, that's crazy. I-93, Brian, what is up? You said I have 2 of them, and my boy, PlayStation 3, I can send you one. Say the word. Oh, wait. You're talking about the PlayStation Portable? Because I see PP down there. Are you talking about PlayStation Portable, or are you talking about the digital? No, I'm good. I mean, shout out to you though, but I'm good on the PlayStation. I got a 5 right here. I do not plan on upgrading. I would just, let that be. My main thing that I stated before is that I know that one of my moderators, Tippy, she is a Sony girl and she is on the PS4. For me, I was like, all right, so if you didn't really get a PS5 yet, if you're going from the 4 to the 5, I'm like, you might as well just go for a Pro. Realistically, if you're going from PlayStation 4 for all these years, just go to a Pro. But now, because the price is so ridiculous, you might as well just get a refurbished PS5. The cheapest PS5 that you can just so happen to get, just go for that one and go for broke. Because that is wild. That is wild. D Money said they were always around that. Mr. Taylor said, this is why I am on PC, and I think you will like it. Said, oh no. Trust me, best believe the same PC that I'm doing this live stream directly from, I got Steam directly on here. Don't trust me, don't get it twisted. Trust me, when I say I'm a gamer, I am there. So like I said, I got the Switch, I got the original Switch. I don't got no Switch 2. The Switch 2, they're like, everything is digital. This, that, and the third. They're trying to go the route of the PSP and the PSP Go. We ain't doing that. As long as they're producing games for the original Switch, we're good. And I'll get those physical copies if I want to. As long as I got the choice to do it, I will sit up and do it. Right. So we got the original Switch when it first came out, 2017. We got both the Xbox and the PS5 when those first came out. And then on my PC, I got Steam. Right. So trust me, when it deals with video games, we are there. Might not really see me on Steam like that because I'm using on Xbox, but we be out there. Now I will tell you, when that Project Helix comes out, I will be there. Like I don't care if I got to start saving up money from like this point up until like next year in increments, but I'm going to make sure whatever price that is, like I said, we ain't talking about no exorbitant price like a console going to be costing like $2,000. But again, I'll sit up there if I know, looking at what's happening now, that chances are it's a hybrid console hybrid, that it's going to be a little bit more premium type of thing. It's like, all right, cool, no problem. I'll just sit up and start saving them now. But I'll make sure to sit up to have that because it'll be an all-in-one, right? And for me, the reason why I say that is because I normally do content and I sit directly in it. Well, y'all can't see it, but I sit directly in this chair. So posture and everything and arms and what is bad, right? It doesn't feel too great, right? You sore and whatnot getting up versus if you're in front of your TV with a console, you're relaxed. you're comfortable. Like you gotta, different types of positions that you can put yourself directly in. You're good, right? So for me, that's why I'm waiting for Helix. I'm not really looking forward to a PS6 because at this point, I don't really see Sony trying to implement and do what it is that Microsoft is doing. I see Sony continuously trying to do the exact same thing that they've always been doing, which is something that Nintendo does, and only Nintendo can do that. Nintendo is the only one that's like, hey, we're going to keep everything basic and very simple, and we're not going to really change anything. Nintendo is the only ones that can do that. I'm not sure why Sony keeps trying to do this, but they're going to hit a line, and they're going to have to figure out if they're going to keep going the same route or if they're going to try to copy what it is that Microsoft is doing. And chances are when they try to copy it, they're going to do it when it's too late. Because like I said, the reason that PlayStation even has subscriptions is because of Microsoft. When they first got wind that Microsoft was pulling in about 200 to 300 million a year just off of Xbox Live subscriptions, that's not dealing with the sales of the console. That's not dealing with games. It's not dealing with controllers or any other peripherals that you can buy for the console, such as like the Kinect. When it was just that, they were like, oh yeah, we're about to implement this subscription service as well too. And again, that was back during the time of 360 versus the PS3. And people on Sony was clowning everybody who had a 360. Oh, you guys sit up there and pay for subscriptions and this, that, and the third. Ha, ha, ha. We don't pay for that because all we got to do is just plug in the internet and just play our games. Ha, ha, ha. But yeah, now where are all of those PS3s at now? How that subscription going? How is that subscription going? And then even looking back to what was it, the early days of the PS5, where Sony was like, yeah, we're going to have full backwards compatibility. Liars. Straight liars. And I'm like, how dare you? I'm like, you told people that you're going to have full backwards compatibility from games of PlayStation 2, and then I think even potentially even PSP. Where is that huge catalog, that huge library? Nowhere to be seen. And then when you go to the premium tiers, like the essential and premium or whatever it is, it's like it's still really nothing there technically. It's like, yo, is what like the amount of lies that Sony has done time and time again, and people just overlook and forgive them is ridiculous. It's 1,000% ridiculous. Tippy said, somebody send me the laptop if they don't want it, LOL. One of these days, Tippy, we're going to get you straight. We're going to figure out something for you, Tippy. We're going to get you straight. Vincent said, I would say to Tippy, coming to PC, but it might be pretty pricey. Third said, I'm going to hold on to my disc version of my PS5 as long as I can. Yeah, that's probably going to be worth a lot of money. This man, Hack, of course. Hack, shout out for the $2 donut. This man was like, I believe in PC supremacy. This man out here. Let me tell you something. Like I said, PC is cool. PC is cool, but I've always loved console. And again, I just want to preface this by saying that again, the very first part of my life, I started off on PC. I just want that to be known. I started off on PC, and I started off on that original 5-battery Game Boy. Like I said, with the green screen. Like I said, newer generation don't know nothing about that. They don't know nothing about no 5 batteries or what it's like to have to go get batteries from remote controls or all this other type of stuff, or to freeze them bad boys in order to get another 15 minutes, out of there. And like I said, I first started playing Tetris. Like I said, beautiful game. Still to this day, because of Game Boy, because of Nintendo, I'm still a huge fan of Tetris and still buy Tetris to this day. Beautiful game. I even got it on my Switch. But yeah, like I said, PC is great, but PC is also highly expensive. It's like so let's say like a console basically lasts about 7 to 10 years. Within 7 to 10 years dealing with a PC, you're going to be upgrading your PC multiple times. Every single year, they come up with a better graphics card just by itself. And then they come up with a better form of RAM. And then they come up with a better motherboard. Like maybe the motherboard now, instead of it being Wi-Fi 5, it's now 6 or 7. So now that's even more money added directly, onto that. On top of, depending on the make and the model of the motherboard, you got to buy certain specific parts because certain boards require certain things versus, other things. Right. And then, everything else that basically comes with it and yada, 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 and, all that type of good stuff. Tibby said somebody sent their laptop. They don't want it. Tibby sitting up here laughing. Vincent said, same here. PC master race. Hack said, just talking ish, no disrespect. D Money said, PC is part of the rainbow community as well. Tibby said, I was born with a controller out the womb. I can't play The Sims using PC. Actually, you can, Tibby. You can trust it. Now, Tibby, because I know you ain't really been on Steam and stuff like that. You can play controllers. Like your PlayStation controller, you can hook it up to Steam and you can play it. Most games on Steam have controller accessibility directly to it. Or even if they don't, you can maybe find mods, directly for it. Tibby said, what's up, Hack? Vincent said, yeah. Yeah, but like I said before, it's crazy out here. It is it's 100% crazy. I need Sony to do something to figure some stuff out. They need to do something. They need to figure some stuff out. Like I said before, shout out to those who are purely Sony loyalists and they just stick with Sony. They ride or die Sony, and that's what they're gonna stick directly with. Shout out to y'all. I was there at one point, like I said, PlayStation and then PlayStation 2. And then they threw me off when they dealt with the PS3. After that article, I was like, yeah, I'm not even going to try to, save up money to get a PS3. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. The same way that Sony did that is the same way that they did Destiny. And I'm like, I haven't played Destiny in years. Like I had to drop that game. I'm like, the amount of disrespect that Destiny players been suffering. I'm like, yeah, nah. And especially since Sony has had that game, yeah, nah. Mm-mm. Even before, like, Sony had that game for a minute because Sony was the whole reason that Xbox got the content late. It was like a year later. I'm like, nobody wants to sit up there and play this map and there's a little bit of content with these skins or whatever it is like a year later. I'm like, y'all doing some clown stuff right now. I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, this one little strike, we gotta wait like 6 months to a year. What? Like I said, no, we don't got no time for that. That's why I know it's going to be real tough when they deal with a lot of fighting games, especially if Sony is the main one that got them. Oh boy, I can only imagine how those characters will be showing up. It's like Sony exclusive, like how they try to do Marvel Avengers. Sony exclusive. We got Spider-Man, guys. Spider-Man, yay! Come over here and play Marvel Avengers on PlayStation. This is the only place that you can play with Spider-Man. Sony literally tried that and they failed. They bombed. They 100% bombed directly on that. They really tried to make it a big deal that they have Spider-Man directly over there. Yeah, just because you got Tom Holland and Spider-Man doesn't mean that everybody is such a huge Spider-Man fan that they're going to be playing that directly on PlayStation. Yeah, that whole thing died that they orchestrated along with Marvel Avengers. Good job, Sony. Shout out to you. Sony Master Race. Timmy says Sony becoming an abusive spouse pimp. Oh, that's crazy. Vincent said, is PC a part of the Rainbow community? Then yes. Yes. Vincent said, oh, is anyone play Marathon? No, Marathon is dope. I was supposed to buy it. And, I'm playing Crimson Desert right now. So it'll be like that. Third said, I still have my PS3, but in need to be repaired. I just haven't taken it to a third-party repair shop. Pillow says Sony is tripping. Let's vote with our wallets, guys, and let's show them we ain't buying it. That's bars. But want to sit up in the state. Much love, respect, and appreciation. And shout out to all of the folks here. It's been close to about 3 hours. Pretty good live stream so far during this whole portion. It is currently 4:09, so y'all got the whole rest of your Monday to go have some fun because I know I'm about to order some food and play some Crimson Desert that I've been needing to play for a long time. Shout out to my mods for doing the Lord's work every single day. Shout out to the regulars, as D Money would normally say. Shout out to those who are part of the membership and those who are part of the patron as well. Shout out to anybody who threw, any type of donations directly into the comment section and anything of the sort. And as I always say, I will catch you guys in the next video and or live stream. And I will have a video uploaded directly for you guys. I think I got it somewhere in the background. I just gotta finish it directly up. Yeah, I can just export it. So yeah, I'll have that up for you guys in a minute, probably around like 5 or something like that. Vincent said, bro, I'm going to sum up Marathon by comparing it to Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is for chill people. You play Marathon when you want to be a terrorist. That's facts. Because I played as a rook in a beta, and I loved just attacking teams. I did. Tippy said, new games. Tippy says, Sony, I don't care what you got to do. Either sell that butt or sell news on OnlyFans. You better get my money. That's facts. Oh, Tippy is hilarious. Let me tell y'all something. Tippy said, read it out loud. I did read it, Tippy. I did. But anyways, love y'all, and I will catch you guys in the next video and or live stream. Peace out.